Thunder, rain, and lightning. It was darker outside than an ill-conceived mid-2000s reboot, and that's just how we like it. The passage of time and our rapidly waning ability to relate to the youth had taken its toll on us, but we were still here, because that was the only life we knew. The only one that we would ever know. As we pondered the big questions, the sound of the creaking door roused us from our reminiscence. And in she stepped. A classy dame, with a runtime that would make you cancel your dinner reservations. She was a new episode of The Hill is Always Greener. She wanted us to talk. Luckily, I, Cyberlink 420, was ready to sing like a science-obsessed canary, as were my fellow detectives.
I'm Game Buddy, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm good for around here.
I'm Falero. I'm like a tall neon sign lighting up the pitch-black night of sky of Springyard Zone. I'm full of cope.
I'm the intern here. I'm Brock the Jake. I hope I can become a good detective one day.
And I can't keep up this narration for the entire episode, so... I'm so excited to be here, and this Sega sort of giving us the thing that we have been asking for the last 4 years. Technically longer if you count before the podcast.
Yep, I know. Not in a playable form, but pretty gosh darn close. I'll say that for certain.
Yes, finally, the Silver the Hedgehog game everybody really wanted.
Yes, of course.
Naturally. Of course, we are talking about Sonic the Hedgehog Presents the Chaotix Casefiles, the narrative audio drama podcast, because a podcast reviewing another podcast is just meta enough for our liking.
Because it's a podcast, but it's not like they got Team Chaotix together to actually chat for 30 minutes at a time. It's more of a radio play in podcast form, and so it's fine.
Yes, an audio drama, if you will.
Yes.
Can you imagine Vector interrupting his podcast mid-roll for a break, saying and now today we're sponsored. I don't know what, that's not his voice at all, but we're sponsored by Surfshark. Finally, we can eat food.
Today we're sponsored by honey.
No, Charmy. We looked into that. Very not good. Unethical.
Uh-oh, how could honey be bad?
I was talking about actual honey, though. I got some sponsorship with the other bees.
The concept of honey.
I mean, he is royalty. He could force that sort of thing.
No.
Oh, bother. Why can't I get sponsored by honey?
Yeah, it is so weird that we are at this point. I know, I did a little bit of research, and my understanding is that this is largely the brainchild of Chris Hernandez from the lore team, and that he's been pushing to make this happen since being brought on. So if you want to know who to thank for this, he's the one.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah, it is such a... I mean, the only comparison I think I have is when they still do them occasionally, but when, anime series would release audio drama CDs, I can...
Oh, yeah.
So many series, I remember back in the day from Sailor Moon to Inuyasha, etc., tons of Gundam ones, where it is just the cast from the show doing an exclusive audio only story. And it's crazy that this exists. And I'm so glad.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like these narrative podcasts have been becoming more and more frequent over the years. Marvel's done a lot of them at this point.
Yeah.
I feel like the idea of this being done with Sonic would not have been a thing I would have considered, some years ago.
No, and it is strange that we're in a world where this is possible now, because obviously the fact that you mentioned that other franchises have done this makes it available to Sonic now, because Sonic's whole thing is cribbing off everybody else's ideas. But but the fact that they're doing this is, you wouldn't have expected this years ago, when, God knows, they still hadn't worked out what exactly was going on with Sonic's world. Like, this is, you mentioned the head of the lore team is one of the people who's behind this. And yeah, like, without the work of them trying to bring Sonic into a place where it makes some sense now, the story of Sonic, we would never have something like this. And you can see that because this ties to what we understand to be Sonic's world now in ways that I was not expecting when this started up.
Yeah, I feel like that is the greatest strength of this particular podcast, is that it does do a really interesting job of like building out the world and the lesser characters from the franchise in a way that like sometimes even the comics don't get to do.
Well, yeah, because spoilers, everyone, there's more than just furries in this story. So that's something that we don't get very often. We don't get that at all in the comics now. So yeah, enters the realm of stuff like the animations now, where the game promoting animations, where they're allowed to actually give the other characters in the world, and Tails Tube, I suppose, where like now like the rest of the world is on the table again. So that's pretty cool. We haven't had that for a while.
Yeah, it's so interesting. As of recording, I think it was yesterday or maybe like a day and a half ago. Yeah, Tails Tube is such an interesting thing to where I think for a little bit people were worried they weren't going to be getting dubbed in Japanese anymore. And then just the other day they released them all in like a batch, and like people were introduced.
Mega collection.
Yeah, a mega collection, if you will, with some gems in there. And people were introduced to the Japanese voices of Professor Victoria, Tangle, and Whisper. I still don't think we know the actual actors' names if they've posted them anywhere, but yeah, the fact that Tails Tube kind of is a big deal as far as the, building up the lore that carries over into multimedia like this and the comics is, I don't know. I really like it. I am not opposed to that and have pretty much enjoyed everything that they've done with it so far.
For sure. And the fact that they got like an incredible team to like come together and actually put this thing into effect is like absolutely fantastic. You've got the whole cast reprising along with a few new ones. We will, talk about them as they come up, but like this was mostly written by Dan Jolly, who has a long comic book and novel career, but who I originally knew as the writer on War and Fall of Cybertron, which were
wow,
very good games.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the director on it is Ian Jones-Cordy, which is not surprising because he is a diehard Sonic fan, as evidenced by that OKKO crossover episode.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
One of the best pieces of Sonic animation to exist.
Correct.
And it's interesting to bring in a guy who's mainly done like cartoons to do this, to direct an audio drama. It's almost like we've got a bunch of like really talented people out there who are used to working with visual mediums, really chomping at the bit to make a Sonic cartoon, and they gave one to Man of Action. But anyway, this is the closest we get to that sort of, the passionate people doing that, and it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, in the time that all these episodes have come out, like it's been really cool to check social media and see all the fan animations that have come out, like things from just simple animatics to like full-scale 3D rendered, like actually good-looking TV quality 3D animations. And like I feel like I'm just going to say like a year away from fans just putting together like a whole visual series of just, animations with all the audio in it, because it looks great so far.
I know. I need to spend some time after this recording to look some of those up.
Yeah, we might need to get a cut though that omits some of the descriptive narration that goes on, because maybe that would be a bit redundant when you're actually seeing it happen. Something's happening,
true.
and Vector's like, and then I see Sonic doing a spin attack. Wow, look at him go! Yes, Vector, we can see that.
Or what if they keep it, but like while the action's happening, they put it at like 5 or 10% of the audio as opposed to everything else. So like you can technically hear it, but it's so low, it's like it's barely there.
You just see the reflection of all the action in Vector's eyes as he's watching.
The music for the whole thing was all done by the 8-Bit Big Band, who I've been a big fan of for a while.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's why it sounds so good.
Yeah.
Full big band production on some of these tracks.
They won a Grammy too. That's awesome.
Yeah, I did not pick up on that at all.
Oh,
Man,
good for
that's
them, but
awesome.
even Dr. Eggman and Sonic Boom won a Grammy, so that doesn't really mean much.
Wow, and it's a Grammy. I'm surprised how many like leitmotifs from Sonic 1 and 2 are in there, considering I did not hear Nakamura mentioned at all.
Okay, yeah, like he's not. That is so strange. That I'm looking at the credits. It's Sega Sound Team for the most part, and Jun Senaway. Where is Nakamura's name? They are not like just doing like sound-alikes in Lego Dimensions. Right off the bat here, we're getting flipping. We're getting some Green Hill. We're getting some Casino
Nobody
Night.
tell him.
Right? Yeah, nobody
tell him.
Maybe no one told him. Maybe
tell
he's busy on another Dreams Come True tour, and they're just like, maybe if he doesn't listen to YouTube, everything's fair game on YouTube.
Yeah.
No, but like seriously, this is full to the brim with musical callbacks to Sonic. It's really refreshing. It's the sort of thing I like to do when we're doing like the fan dub clips and stuff, except this is done professionally and by people who know what they're doing, so it's even better. And it's not obnoxious either.
I would pay good money for an album of the whole score.
Oh, I was just
yeah.
about to say, I hope they release them on
Especially
something.
on vinyl. Oh.
Even if it's just the theme song, which I know they have the video up, but come on.
We got to talk about the theme song because it's a perfect tone setter, you know. And obviously Rebecca Sugar composed and wrote the lyrics, and you can hear the original demo on YouTube. It's perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, Rebecca Sugar, like, self-admittedly has that one track from Knuckles Chaotix, the Midnight Greenhouse from Botanic Base, on her playlist. Because, that's a fantastic song. It's one that we've commended before, and that's, like, used as the main leitmotif for this. Is like, a lot of that song is made up of that song. But it's also its own thing, and it's great, and it's cool, and it fits the setting completely. And who is it doing the vocals again?
That is Broadway performer Tiffany Mann, who nails it.
She is fantastic.
No job too big, no gig too small, no thing too dangerous, chaotic do it all. Give us your mystery, you wouldn't want to miss when the chaotics are on the case.
And so, as much as I love the original Teen Chaotix theme and its ways of trying to tie in the actual characters, I think like this is done a bit better than the the ninja stars flying and all that, and the Karma Collector Vector and all that. This is this woman is singing heartily about these three animal characters, and I believe her. That
No, I mean, like you said, as a fan of big band jazz and noir and detective stuff, I mean, it's perfect. It is absolutely perfect for this. And
it brings to mind like the freaking Babes and Bullets Garfield special that came out. And it had a similar sort of like opening, you know.
Yeah. So we've got 8 full episodes plus a sort of episode 0 prologue. So we jump in right at the beginning with Chaotix are on the case, the episode 0. And right from the start, you know, we're setting the tone with Vector doing this internal monologue in this old-timey detective voice. And I will 100%, I think this is going to be what cements Keith Silverstein as the definitive Vector voice going forward.
Yes.
I absolutely agree, because Keith Silverstein is fantastic. He is still a bit hamstrung from whenever he has to do the Vector voice, the one that he has unfortunately been forced to have to do. Like, that's his lot ever since Shadow 05 happened to all of us. Like, anyone who's voicing Vector has to talk like this now, and that's just what Vector is. And but he does a great job of it. There are times where he definitely has to struggle to do it. So the fact that he gets to have the sort of like narration voice where he like tones it down a bit and smooths it out, by God, that gives him a chance to actually perform well in this role. And
actually does a really good job of like transitioning between the two when he calls for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
3 valiant souls doing their best to fight crime and counter injustice in the unforgiving concrete canyons of the cold, naked city.
Hey, that was pretty good. I should be writing this down.
And I love in this episode, the framing that he's literally practicing in the bathroom, looking at the mirror.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Who among us hasn't?
Oh, absolutely.
Sonic characters use the bathroom. Confirmed. Official canon, Sega. Sorry,
He does flush the toilet. So.
He does. They have a working plumbing.
Oh, I have one side note. First, I must ask, does anyone care if I spoil a very mild event in the new Resident Evil game? I don't know.
I've already seen the ending.
Anyone's a super fan.
I'll take my headphones off and you say it and then just type in the chat when you're done.
Okay, it'll be quick.
Right. Headphones off now.
Okay. I forgot that Keith Silverstein has been the voice of Hunk, the mercenary of death in the Resident Evil series since the remakes, and he shows up out of fucking nowhere in Requiem to fight Leon, and he's very much sounds like he's doing narrator Vector, and so I kind of marked out while these episodes were still coming out, like, oh my god, Vector, no, don't kill me. But yeah, Keith Silverstein's great. He's definitely, he's so incredibly charming in here. Okay, let me let Jake know.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Keith
So
Silverstein.
weird how Charmy B shows up at the end of Resident Evil Requiem.
I know,
Oh,
it's
sorry,
crazy.
Jake.
The model from the games and all. No. No, he's incredibly charming in this show, and even like you said, when he struggles in his regular Vector voice, I just kind of laugh at it because I can't remember. I think there's a line where he replies incredulously to a character's. I think he might just say like me, but it's like me, and I'm like, yeah, that's pushing that voice pretty hard, but it still works.
Because it is a Muppet voice. Let's be real. That's what he's ended up with, and I like it. But it does put some limitations on how you're able to emote and say things very well. But Keith is like the best one to do that. So,
yeah. I think
him.
Since his unexpected episode of Sonic Boom, I've been like, oh no, this guy's got it. He's got it down. And I would even argue, and I mean, I like Vector's long-running Japanese voice too, but I almost would say now that it is under control and isn't, as the four kids of it all, that it adds a little bit more to Vector's, like, charming incompetence.
A little bit, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, this is also the most that we've gotten to, like, hear Matt Mercer as Espio in a very long time.
Yeah.
And
this is the most we've heard him play Espio and act. Like, not to say that he can't act. We know Matt Mercer's a tremendous performer, but he's never had the potential to do that because he's been reading off scripts whenever he appears. Now he's got a good one.
that, and like, if you compare it to how he sounded in Forces, which was one of the first times that he had to voice a character.
Taking over after Troy Baker.
After Troy, yeah. But he was still doing a much deeper delivery at that time, like probably to try and match Troy a little closer. But now it feels much more natural and a lot more lighter, which is also true of like how I have changed my Espio voice over the years. And I think that it works for him a lot in this case.
They're probably staging somewhere else as part of Eggman's plan.
I think it might as well have from Dr. Eggman stamped on it.
Considering how they characterize him in this, letting him be a bit more, able to emote more has like really just helped it. Like the fact that it sounds no natural now makes some of these really good scenes that we get with Espio coming up turn out all the better. I'm so happy to hear Matt in this just giving it his all as this funny little ninja chameleon.
It reminds me of Murder of Sonic, to where Espio gets this, like, very serious character to play, but then when it kind of falls apart and he doesn't know what's going on, like, playing into the fact that Espio is supposed to be pretty young. Like, Vector is one of, like, the canonically oldest Sonic characters out there. He's supposed to be, like, early 20s or however. But, like, I really like in the show that Espio, yes, he's very serious, he's very dedicated to his ninjutsu and his craft, but he's not exactly, world experienced. Like, I love the bits where, they're talking to Professor Victorian. What does she say she wants to grant them if they
an honorarium?
Yes, an honorarium. And Espio's right there with Charmy and Vector. Like, what is that? Could it be money? We could use money. And not to jump ahead, but all of his flustered reactions to any time Rouge says anything to him is just so cute and really
we will come back to that.
We certainly will.
And speaking of voices, I mean, voices we haven't gotten to hear, but I mean, Colleen O'Shaughnessy as Charmy B. This is the most we've ever heard of that version of Charmy.
I keep forgetting it's Colleen. Like, it does at this point, it's so separate from her Tails voice that it just stands out on its own. I love it.
I remember I was worried in the Sonic Generations re-release because it sounded like she was trying really hard to differentiate between Tails, classic Tails, who she re-recorded for, and Charmy, but this really feels like she hit the stride to where she just added a little bit of that, just that little bit of, he's just a little boy and he's crazy, and Tails doesn't really have that. Tails is, more gravelly and serious, and I there's a few times where you hear Charmy right after Tails in this show, and I don't think it sounds identical at all.
Right, I was just... Somebody disguised as Knuckles stole an artifact from the museum. Yeah, I know.
And, man, Charmy's adorable. Like, a really good job to the writing and performance of, like, getting that perfect balance between, like, no, Charmy is a goofy, annoying little child, but he's just so damn innocent and just wants to help and probably needs to be tested for a few disorders, but his broke dads can't afford that right now, so.
Yeah, I feel like the voice was like right in that midpoint where, like you said, she was still trying to find what Charmy sounds like now to, differentiate it. And, we have a photo from September 2024 that Colleen took of her, Keith, and Matt in the booth that now we're pretty sure this is what that was for, which tells you how long this has been cooking. But, that was right before the Generations remaster came out. So I have to imagine that was a case of this was still along the way to figuring out what Charmy is now. And, he sounds a little different again in Cross Worlds. And I feel like that is the perfect spot for where Charmy is. So this was just the last stepping stone before getting there.
Yep. I agree. He's a funny little dude.
But yeah, this first prologue episode is basically just kind of establishing who each of these characters are. Sonic shows up for a brief little cameo and leaves a package behind that turns out to have been from Eggman. There's a buzz bomber. There's a big fight scene. Vector chomps its face off. Very good. And big celebratory. Everybody goes out for ice cream before the reveal that, oh, I wouldn't realize that this would lead to our biggest case ever. And also, I'm in prison. Oh, no.
Sonic's here, too.
Sonic's in jail. Again.
And where he deserves to be.
But he's not being tortured for months.
Before that happened, we did hear the shocking revelation that Espio thinks he might be lactose intolerant.
This is true, yes.
Oh, I love I can't remember what is... Charmy gets something like caramel whip, something crazy. I like am I looking too much into it? But Vector likes bubblegum ice cream because of the big bubblegum bubble from Sonic Heroes.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it.
And I love that Espio's is a single scoop of vanilla.
Yeah. Charmy gets Rocky Road and butter pecan, and Espio's just a single scoop of vanilla.
Yeah, of course, because he's stupid.
This means a lot to Charmy, Espio. Just take some Lactaid and come with us.
Oh, gosh, I'm just thinking. Espio's trying to sneak around and...
Trust me, Vector. If we go out for ice cream, you are the ones who are going to be paying for it later.
And then Rouge is just like, I sneaked up on you. And he's like, how? I was so quiet. Honey, I could smell you.
Gross.
We can cut that out if that's too blue.
No, Jake,
Not allowed.
come on.
So yeah, this is coming from the guy who said "cloaca" really loudly.
I know. I was about to say no. Talk about prehensile penis or something.
Ninja technique, green wind.
Jesus.
Yeah, this makes for a really good just sort of.
Damn it.
Yeah, this really makes for a good, tone setter for the rest of the series. I'm glad that they put that in there just to sort of establish a base before jumping, instead of having to spend the entire first episode establishing the status quo.
Yeah.
It's about 10 minutes long, and then when it came out, I was like, oh, that's what it's going to be like. Well, I look forward to whenever the next one comes out. And then later that day, we get the first episode, and I was like, oh, okay. And it's a full, it's basically a TV cartoon length.
Yeah, they're all, 20 to 30 minutes.
So that's really good, actually. We got them once a week, every Tuesday.
Okay, yeah.
Weeks and.
Yep, every Tuesday at about noon my time. So I would listen to them while I was getting lunch every day.
Nice. I tried to listen to them just in the car. I had them on. I don't know if anybody else listening is going to have a problem, but I listened to them at 1.25 speed because it was the perfect length for driving. It was the perfect length for driving from work. So, and I was able to hear it.
Sorry, I love that Jeremy's reaction to that was Fox's death noise from Star Fox 64.
No, people can listen to podcasts however they want.
Okay, good, because now I can admit that I also listen at multiple times speed.
Oh.
Mostly just for that reaction.
I guess I'm slightly hypocritical. I use Overcast, and it has a built-in algorithm that shortens silences, between, especially if you're listening to a video game podcast or whatever. But I turn all that off for narrative-style podcasts.
Yeah, I listen to this at normal. I listen to this at normal speed, but every other podcast.
I need to experience the artist's original intent, but no, I don't actually give a shit. But it's funny. It's funny to overreact, though.
It is.
I just listened to it at a regular speed both times because I had time to do that, so it's fine. I could draw in the background. This is a perfect accompaniment for drawing animated.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
So,
yay!
I do. There's just one little thing I want to bring up that I appreciate, and it's I like to think about labeling and branding in a fun way sometimes, and just the fact that this whole radio drama series starts out with Sonic the Hedgehog Presents, and then the Chaotix Casefiles. It's a really small little thing, but I appreciate that because even just having that little branding of Sonic the Hedgehog Presents, that obviously to me that opens up the door for all sorts of different experimental things that Sega would want to do, not just radio dramas, but just other things. They can, if they want to do something a little more indie style or whatever, they can just do Sonic the Hedgehog Presents.
Mm-hmm.
Charmy's diabetic coma.
No, I agree. We do see sometimes Sega Presents on some of the animations, but I would like to see them do that with other things. And I think it works with this, especially this prologue episode. Listening back to it, I realized okay, this is not only a good intro to what this series is, but if maybe you are unfamiliar with what Sonic has done in the past couple of years, it's easy to roll your eyes at all the narrative, and then, I think even in this one, and then who showed up at our door but Sonic the Hedgehog, world famous blue hero, saved the world. Everybody knows who Sonic is, unless you're listening to this for the first time or something. So
yeah,
they do that with most of the characters that show up. If they're a character that Vector knows about, Vector explains them, and if it's a character he doesn't know about, he explains what he sees. So at least gives you an idea of what you're getting into, and that is useful.
Yeah,
for because some of the people might not be reading the comics because they're stuff from there and this, and some people might not have played this or that game. So it's a good idea to have each one get at least a little bit of an introduction.
Imagine this project being somebody's first introduction to Sonic as a whole.
Could be.
That'd be really interesting.
Might be someone's first Sonic experience, and thus the the yardstick by which they compare every other piece of Sonic media from. So, oh, I don't know. I liked Sonic when I had no visual reference for what was going on. I prefer it when it's audio only.
Yeah, but that brings us into our first episode, The Case of the Two-Faced Thief, where we basically get our framing device for this entire series where, as we mentioned before, Vector and Sonic are imprisoned by Eggman, and Vector is basically telling the story of, yep, that's me. You want to know how I got into this whole mess, and basically using that to stall for as long as they can so their friends can get him out.
Yeah. And I think just right off the bat, like the whole series has incredibly good audio production, but I think with this episode it just really showcases it because, you know, a lot of it takes place in like Station Square in the city, and there's just so much Foley and sound effects and stuff that goes into that, and it really makes it an immersive listening experience. And just you gotta, you know, we listed off like the crew members and stuff, but just bravo to everybody who made all of that happen and made it sound like a world and not just a bunch of voices talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I assume Realm Studios is that is their bread and butter.
Yeah. There's also just a lot of little touches that you're not going to pick up on at all unless you are a, you know, dyed-in-the-wool Sonic fan, where it's like, you know, we cut to Station Square and immediately we hear the la 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 we're in love NPC.
Yeah, I know that guy. And the train announcement.
Yes.
And the one lady who says she's never going back to the casino.
Yep. Welcome to Twinkle Park.
It's just nothing ever changes in Station Square.
No, even after the tragedy of perfect chaos, they went right back to normal.
Yep.
And I love they kind of acknowledge that as well with Vector,
yeah,
you know, doing the whole thing of like, you know, the city's gorgeous at the surface, but dig a little deeper. It's been destroyed and rebuilt so many times. Blah, blah, blah.
And he compares himself to the city in that way.
I know. Poor Vector brings up his aching back problems multiple times.
I like that they even mentioned the, you know...
Just a normal city full of hustle and bustle. A great railway union.
Oh, yeah! Oh, man. Man, we could probably in the future do a whole episode on the side stories of Sonic Adventure that I feel like nobody talks about. All the NPC storylines and whatnot. Good stuff. In the very beginning of this, is this the first time we get Vector mentioning the astroscopic lenses, which will be the focus of the case.
The MacGuffins of this.
I know, yeah.
Yes, this is also where we start to get our first tease of each character's little personal arc that are going to be going throughout the series, with Espio being like, I feel like my ninja skills are stagnating. Haven't been challenged enough and I'm letting myself go, which I feel like that makes sense for his character, that he would like take that stuff very seriously and be very, you know, self-effacing in that way.
Mm-hmm. He does do like a few little humble brags, like I can hit a bottle cap from 50 yards away with a kunai knife and I can turn invisible and stuff. But then he mentions like not being challenged, and that's a neat way to take his character.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, it's through Charmy trying to make him feel better about his place on the team that Charmy starts his own arc, realizing, wait, you mean I'm not the muscle of the team? Then what am I?
No, that was so funny. And Vector too said,
I'd hate to break it to you, Charmy, but I'm the muscle.
What?
I'm 10 times your size. Look at these arms. Look at this tail. Of course I'm the muscle. I'm the brains too, now that I think about it.
So then Charmy immediately has an identity crisis, which will carry on throughout this whole show.
Well, then what am I? Well, you're technically a child, so you're the tax write-off.
But oh no, there's trouble at Station Square Museum.
Oh no.
A figure that mysteriously looks a lot like Knuckles has stolen well, we already established the astroscopic lens.
a thingy.
A thing that we don't know what it is.
Some red echidnas abound here. Could be anyone at this point. No, actually it couldn't. We're not in that universe. And when they're talking about it, Vector kind of ties it to ties modern Chaotix with Knuckles Chaotix by mentioning that Knuckles used to work with them at the detective agency.
Yeah.
So trying to bring it back.
Yeah, he'll mention later. He'll specifically mention later, stopping Metaltronic High, the Neutronic High Zone, which is about as overt a reference as you can get.
Yeah.
And of course, it either didn't happen at all, and Vector's making it up, or Knuckles just doesn't remember it. But they'll never tell us one way or the other, I guess.
I like the. Is this the same episode where they talk to Knuckles? Or is that the next one? Okay. Well, then I can say I like how Knuckles is playing it like he is being a little snarky by saying, I don't remember. Also, love the fact that Knuckles is basically declaring himself a sovereign citizen of the island.
And I was here, on this floating island, where I make all the laws.
What does that mean?
It means good luck trying to arrest me.
Yes, diplomatic immunities.
Oh, I love it. Like Knuckles is just having a bad day.
Yeah.
Here, his old friends from high school coming up here accusing him of stealing artifacts. He's going to be a little snarky with them.
A little miffed.
But before he does that, they do have a whole, basically a break-in segment to get inside the museum to find some clues.
This is such good, slapstick.
Yes.
Oh,
it's great. It's so well put together. Because at one point, Vector says,
Find the security room.
said with a very particular cadence, one of two references we're going to get to that throughout the whole show.
He said it. He said the thing.
I love seeing, the YouTube comments pop off on that.
Yeah.
I know. And Charmy getting to use his death stinger attack, but only on security cameras.
Yes.
Not any living beings.
And I liked Vector's bit about,
I then maneuvered through the open window, as gracefully as a dancer. Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the sound design, he just falls ass over tea kettle.
I love the introduction of Mr. Kitsch as well. Matt is hamming it up so hard for this role.
Oh, my word! Gentlemen, you could have simply not.
Just really leaning into it in a way, a way I appreciate.
He's 2 steps away from hedonism bot.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I don't know. It's well, yeah, he's a little fruity, but it is supposed to just be that rich, thirst and hell. But yeah, hedonism bot, that's a great in the middle.
Yeah.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to take my bath in molten hot chocolate.
Yeah, and I will give them credit. I'm glad that they put in characters like Kitsch to be red herrings, because there was a good stretch where I was 100% convinced he was the thief.
I do remember that, sorry. I've been watching a pup named Scooby-Doo.
I knew you were going to bring it up.
Every time I hear red herring.
Wasn't me, dweeb. But that's how we get turned on to Knuckles potentially being the culprit. And we get our first introduction of the Chaotix Copter.
Yeah.
The famous helicopter that they've always had. Yes. Sorry, it's very funny the way they introduce that they've got a helicopter and it's
just Vector immediately being like, the Chaotix Copter, and Charmy without Miska being,
We're gonna die! We're gonna die! We're gonna die!
I love the line when they're in the air of who really needs a pilot's license?
pilots!
We do get a tiny little illustration in one of the podcast art covers, which Evan Stanley did all those.
I believe
think?
so, yes.
Nice.
Yeah, and it just looks like it's just helicopter shaped, but I mean, I like to imagine it is just painted with Fisher Price colors and
in my mind, I picture it looking like the Heavy Gunner's little copter thing from
yes,
Sonic
oh
Mania.
my god, exactly.
And speaking of the thumbnail art, I really like for episode 1 that Knuckles' wanted poster looks just like the One Piece one. Like any One Piece wanted poster.
Yeah, that style. It's very good.
Yep. I think you can still buy all of those on t-shirts on Sega's website.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's cool. They are very nice bespoke bits of art for every episode of this, including the episode 0.
Yep.
They arrive on Angel Island, though. They just make it, and of course, what do we hear but Angel Island theme? I'm sorry, I'm just like, yeah, of course that's what you hear. It's just little musical bits that I'm just like, and they sound perfectly. They don't sound out of place or anything. It's just like, yep, that's Angel Island. Just after listening to the whole Project Chaos album, I'm happy to hear that song again.
I do not blame you. But of course, as we established, Knuckles isn't talking, and they don't believe it's him anyway, so they make their way back to the office to call Tails for advice, who...
Just Knuckles. You're following man's laws. This is echidna territory.
I do like that they also established that, G.U.N is also looking into the robberies, but establishes that they're barely holding it together after the events of the war.
Yeah. Yep. Because Vector talks about that they are still, like you said, trying to recover in every possible way, like physically by, rebuilding cities and infrastructure, but also like their reputation. Like, G.U.N, hey, you got taken out completely by Dr. Eggman, so they got
G.U.N, and by extension all of human society has been persona non grata. That's why they haven't been in the comics this whole time. That's my whole explanation for it.
They've been licking their wounds, realizing they're not at the top of the food chain.
Yeah, they performed so poorly that they cut them completely from Sonic Forces. All of that was just happened off screen.
I do like just the way they bring G.U.N into it, to where like, yeah, they're not the bad guys, but they are annoying. They show up. Yeah. I mean, the whole time I got Sonic's famous, like, sheesh, there sure is a lot of G.U.N around when you don't need them.
But I think this is what it's talking to Tails that we get another character showing up here that's a quite significant character, at least a character that we all thought was going to have a lot of significance, and we still feel like it will, but it's not until now that I feel like has really come into the spotlight quite as much.
Yeah, and that is, of course, Professor Tori, she of the Journal from Shadow Generations and multiple cameos in that one episode of Tails Tube.
I know, I've rewatched that before this and just laughing again that here's her big debut, and it's to watch poor Tails get made a fool of by Orbot of all people.
Yeah, they build on, some of the stuff established in that Tails Tube. Bring up that the astroscopic lenses are from the second great civilization, the G.U.Ns, which, again, shows more that they are trying to build an established backstory and history for the universe, which I am all for.
Yeah, I think the whole great civilization thing think started as a mild mistranslation from Sonic Battle that was just referring to a real historical concept. But I honestly love to see it repurposed to give Sonic's world more more coherence. And Professor Victoria Tori is she's really cool. I mean, she's got a cool voice. She gets to be Vector literally says in his narration, gets to treat her as the dame walked in and gave us
exactly
a case.
what I was thinking. She is that first woman who walks into the office, heels clicking against the floor.
Oh, I've almost forgot about Charmy's book throne. That's so funny.
Yeah.
What is it? He said something about
finally getting some higher education.
Yes, and so he piled a bunch of books onto a chair so he can sit eye level with the rest of the crew. But they all get dumped out, so Tori has a seat. And then she's like, "Oh, you can sit with me, little boy." Okay, she's nice. It's so cute.
Charmy is just part puppy.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But yes, Victoria officially hires them to look into the missing lenses. And that more or less cuts us off. She gives them one lead that Rouge has stolen another artifact, and then it gets cut off by Eggman's alarm, and we get a to be continued. But again, great way to kind of set things up and establish what the stakes are, more or less.
Before we move on to the next one. Sorry, I'm remembering. I think Vector, when they're getting ready to sneak into the museum, says something about okay, gang, saddle up. And Charmy immediately gets fixated on that. Like, saddle up? Does that mean we're going to ride horses?
Yeah.
No, Charmy. And he keeps going on with that. Like, and then Tori says something about giving them an honorarium, which they should have picked up one of those books and looked it up in the dictionary. They said, like, oh, we could get the Chaotix Copter, fixed up, or maybe some air conditioning for the office. Or we could get horses. I swear he has a new fixation every episode. It's so adorable.
I know that's like.
Yep. But yeah, Victoria is also the one that says that it's not Knuckles. They already ruled them out, but possibly Rouge has just lifted another artifact.
And I do like the way that they close off these episodes. Not all of them have this, but they will begin and close off many of these episodes with cutting back to, the sound of the prison door opening and closing and the characters being there in Eggman's base, and Sonic gets to be involved in this just by being there as well. And he's being a sassy little boy, which must upset
so
a lot
funny.
of people. And Eggman is, as usual, very funny as well. It's just jokes. It's just jokes, Dave. It's a nice way of setting this up and reminding us of where we are in the story, because this is all flashback stuff, and it gives like an actual reason for Vector to keep doing these narrating bits and not just like actually talking in the scene, which he does do sometimes, which is funny as well.
Yes.
Oh, and part of it, as Sonic brings up, is they are technically stalling for Eggman, so he doesn't leave or kill them, as he threatens to do at least once an episode, which is also pretty funny.
But unfortunately, Eggman does get interested in the story, so he has no reason to get rid of them just yet.
I think it's in episode 1. It's either episode 1 or episode 2 where Vector's like starting up the story again during the beginning of the episode, and I love that Vector, just because of who he is, he calls both Sonic and Eggman boys by saying like, all right, boys, time for the story or whatever. I'm just like like there's something funny to me of like Vector saying that to Eggman, who has tried to like enslave and kill them all multiple times, and he's like, all right, boys.
I know. I love I think it's near it's when Vector introduces Tangle and Whisper, and Eggman's like, oh, that does sound familiar. I think I remember firing a missile or two at them.
But yeah, now we are into episode 2, The Case of the High Stakes Heist. This basically starts with, I'm pretty sure they're going to Apotos just based on the background music.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I recognize that too. I was like, "Oh wait, where's?"
Yeah, they don't say specifically, but that is where the music is from.
Eggman gets real racist and calls Vector an alligator.
I suppose that's why they need the Chaotix Copter, because they are flying between continents here to get to these sort of places. So it does make sense. That's where they were at the Knackerworth Mansion, I think it's called.
Yes, with Miss Edna Knackerworth.
Yes. She's funny. I think this was Kate Higgins.
Yeah, that was Kate as well.
Doing another very foppish, rich, Queen of England.
Madame Blueberry.
I'm Edna Knackerworth. Pleased to meet you.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut.
And Vector doesn't like her because she's an old woman, and old women remind him of bingo, and bingo.
And losing at bingo specifically. He keeps bringing it up. It's so funny. Oh, he goes on for like a paragraph about how it's just not fair. I'm one number away, and then one of those dames grabs it. They're cheating, I tell you.
So what she believes is a trophy was another one of the lenses that got swiped. But allegedly Rouge, but they find a green feather, and we all know who has green feathers and likes to steal things. That's right, Bean the Dynamite.
Bean the Dynamite. For a brief second, I also thought.
I did wonder.
That would have been wild.
That would have been nice, but there is only one person it could have feasibly been in this one, and that is, of course... oh, God, what's he called again? He doesn't really stand out to me. I'm sorry, I'm just talking about Jet the Hawk.
I thought you were waiting for me to come in and go, Jet the Hawk!
My dad says I stand out.
And this is just we basically do cut to there's an extreme gear race has just happened. We go over to Metal City, was it? That has happened?
It's in Metal City.
Yep.
And this is where I'm reminded of how good the current voice actors
Holy
for the Babylon Rogues are. They're so good.
Especially this whole beginning. I even love this transcript we're looking at gets it out. It's transcripted Jets. Well, would you look at this? Oh, because they're just so, it's such a great balance of they're all shitheads and they're all right, in their own right. Jet is a little wiener who thinks he's hot stuff. Wave is just such a, like, everyone is stupider than her. How dare you talk to her? And, well, Storm he's trying to keep up. But yeah, the dynamic between these three it's great in Cross Worlds. It's great here. It's, man, I can't believe I genuinely can say I love the Babylon Rogues again.
This voice cast has helped save these characters, because I'll be real, they're fun enough in Sonic Riders when we played it. Those voices were not doing them any favor, especially Jet's, where it's just another Jason Griffith voice.
Yeah,
bless Jason Griffith. He was just given to go be a bird.
Go be a bird.
All right, I guess I will.
In between One Piece recordings,
pretty much. But here he is, like, sliming his way onto the scene in this new voice, and he's just he's so pathetic because he thinks he's the hottest shit in the world, and he's not.
You think you're hot shit in a champagne glass and your diarrhea in a Dixie cup.
Like, I am 100% convinced that they are in here because they knew Cross Worlds was coming and wanted to do a little bit of cross promotion.
Yep.
I'm certainly not going to say no to more Fred Tatastorm.
Oh,
yes. Tatastorm.
Funny.
What a delicious treat I didn't know I needed. He's really funny too.
Jet's obviously not talking. He's like, tell you what, I'll talk if you can beat me in a race that I know you're not going to be able to. I like that they bring up that, Vector's raced before because of Team Sonic Racing, but not on Extreme Gear, because I guess this happens before Cross Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
Most likely.
I don't think I put that together. Like, there were ever any Chaotix characters in a Sonic Riders game?
Nope.
Dang.
No, but Vector was canonically in Team Sonic Racing, so...
Yep.
Actually, wait. No, he was in Free Riders.
Was he?
I think so.
No, you're right. Yeah, he was. You're right, but he's probably... Actually, because that's why we heard the voices for the first time, the new voices for the characters. Huh, but I guess he was... I guess canonically he's not very good.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to double check now, because that's curious. That's going to bug me until we've confirmed for sure that we know what we're talking about.
Because he does mention the very canon safe, he's been involved in competitive racing before, so...
I don't see him in Free Riders.
Maybe he was just in the story mode.
No, wait, Team Rose. There he is. He's in Team Rose. Sorry, I missed him there. For some reason, he's in a mishmash team again. That is so odd. I don't even see him here, but he's apparently there, so... Alright, well, there you go. That's Vector. Oh, but he was riding a bike, I think.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
It was like one of those extreme gear bikes, so...
Yeah, so he's technically never boarded, so I'll give it to them.
All right, but they're on thin ice.
Maybe it's just that nobody wants to remember that Free Riders was a thing.
Yeah.
We only cared because it was our first glimpse at a lot of the new voices in Sonic. That's why we paid any attention to it. I certainly never played it, and people who did said, "Oh no, I don't like that I'm playing this." So
it wasn't very good at all.
That's what we have the non-Connect patch for.
Yay!
But the Connect was good actually. According to Derek specifically.
But yeah, they're doing the whole race thing, and Vector is barely hanging on by the skin of his teeth, while Espio goes back to the Copter because he thinks something isn't right, and he's correct, because Rouge is right there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man, so here's Rouge the Bat with her usual voice actress, Karen Strassman, and for some reason, she's really good in this. Sorry, that sounds really mean. Unfortunately,
there was a long streak where she was probably the worst voice in the game, so like it's worth pointing out.
Nearly, well, okay, Again, I need to back up. Despite my personal feelings on Karen Strassman as a human being, I will say her and the voice direction that let her do it almost ruined the end of Shadow Generations for me with her whatever. But yeah, no,
Dream
she
Team as
sounds.
well.
She sounds she's really off in Dream Team. She sounds perfectly fine in this, to where I'm like,
she embraces the femme fatale role
Yes.
here. It fits perfectly. It's surprising.
It's really like I try not to compare, because we talked about how there's so many Sonic characters who've never tried to be a match for their Japanese voice counterparts. I feel like Rouge is the opposite, where like her Japanese voice is like a perfect example of like what Rouge should sound like. Not too low, not too high, but yes, be able to turn on and off that femme fatale, not overly, not like porno acting, but still smooth, like showing her intelligence. And I feel like, yes, this performance gets pretty close. I still think the Rouge performance, I think, gets a lot of that down, and unfortunately I would have loved to see go into the future, is Lonnie Manella. But no, this is probably the best this version of Rouge has ever sound, and yeah, she sounds great, and she's really funny too.
Yeah, and she's clearly, one step ahead in a lot of ways, but I cannot overemphasize how badly Rouge wants the horn.
Yes. The lower horn.
See,
Back to Futurama.
Yeah, it's
all comes
throughout
back to
all of
Futurama.
this is a recurring thing of her trying to find Chameleon, which is impressive that she's branching out like that. But it is remarkable. And I suppose it's not a ship I'd ever considered, but I don't mind it. It's interesting. They are both stealthy.
I think the way that it is portrayed here is, I think there is always not to jump too far ahead, but we know what Rouge's ultimate goal is in this, and that it would actually behoove her if some party, regardless of their moral alignment, would gather all of these astroscopic lenses. So I think that I took it as that there is, with this flirting with Espio, but there is an undercurrent of like, okay, I'm going to get these boys to do what I want.
Yeah.
With the way she leads them on. She admits she's the one that planted the feather. And like I was saying before, Espio's like inherent taking things too seriously, leading him to like forget his people skills, is so funny with Rouge. Like, I cannot help but think of the famous, like, hey, how big's that dick? Small, leave me alone. He is so incredulous with Rouge here, and it really doesn't seem like he's picking up what she's putting down, if she's intending to put it down.
She is intending to put it down.
She's out here like asking him to like come away with her, and maybe there could be a couple of sneaky, stealthy people together.
How about
wink,
some
wink.
stealthy adventuring together, just the two of us?
Why would I do that? Why would I abandon my teammates for no good reason? Right, no good reason. Okay. I feel like maybe from her perspective, she's like, I just want to, see if I can work with a ninja for a little bit and see how that works out for me. But as he progressively just gets worse and worse at understanding what she's trying to say, she's almost like, I cannot believe you are not picking up anything I'm throwing down here. What is wrong with you?
You do, by the end of it, you really do get a sense where she's like, okay, this isn't fun anymore.
My name is Espio, and I am asexual.
I've learned a lot about myself this adventure.
Thinking about the whole pairing thing, when I first heard this and like going through the episodes, I was like, oh, that would be like a fun little like ship kind of thing. But then I had to throw a wet blanket over myself of like, well, Rouge has a history in like the anime and like the comics and stuff of like flirting just to get what she wants. So I'm just like, it could just be a tactic.
I think it's a little column A, little column B, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. I did, re-listening, I did mostly take it as she is using she's using all the tools in her toolbox.
We've got to have Prismaya listen to this and get her take on it, because I feel like just after our discussion of like Knuckles is too easy for it to be fun anymore.
Oh no, like, Prismaya would be super into it because that frees up Knuckles for her.
This is true.
Oh, yeah.
Mika is normal.
We'll definitely have to dip it. Hey, maybe we'll. Hey, that could be a project. Maybe we'll ask her and drop it in right here.
But this basically caps off with Vector losing the race, but in the process saving Jet from getting hit by a truck. So we missed out on the Jet isekai fantasy, but we got
because Jet flips her. He's so he's really rubbing Vector's nose in it, so he flips around. He's like, I'm not even gonna watch myself cross the finish line, and then Wave and Storm almost do the, oh no, Jet, he can't see the truck, he can't hear us, he's got his ear pods in.
I used to be the fastest racer alive, but now I was born without legs in a new world.
I do like, I mean, come on, the era of cartoons we grew up in with Destroy and Sent to Another Dimension. I do like that Storm just gets to say like, whoa, boss, you almost died.
Yeah.
I love Jet's reaction to that.
You know what? Quiet, you. That never happened.
Yeah.
That never happened.
That specific delivery is very like Nathan Lane or Dana Snyder.
That really sums up what I like about Jet, is that he is so like he lives in his own little world, and you can't crack that too much. He kind of does, because he doesn't cooperate with the Chaotix, but he does say, you know, you have my word, we were not involved with that. And then, yeah, they're walking away talking about, oh, I can't believe that happened, boss. Like, oh, yeah, that never happened, by the way. Don't talk about it ever again.
But with, the Babylon rogues basically, cleared of suspicion, Rouge once again kind of emasculates Espio by stealing one of his kunai, but leaves a note saying, hey, you should go to Spiral Hills Museum, check it out. There might be something there. And the moment I heard that, my ears picked up, because I'm like, wait, I know where Spiral Hill is. And then basically a few moments later, getting confirmation from the larger narration to Sonic and Eggman that, yeah, we went to Spiral Hill and met up with a couple old friends, Tangle and Whisper. And
the whole fandom squealed.
I was going to say, I cannot remember the last time a big story event in extended Sonic media got people talking the way that Tease did.
Yep.
Absolutely.
No, absolutely. It is really, really significant that this happened. Like, we already got the hint that this was leaning into the IDW verse a little bit when they mentioned that the office is in Seaside City, I think they said it was. That's straight from the comics.
Right.
But now they're just like, oh, there's Spiral Hill. Oh, that sounds familiar. Wait a minute. And there they are. Tangle and of course, if we're going to get any comic characters first, it had to be the two breakout characters. It had to be these two. Who else was it going to be? But it still felt so significant, because I feel like there are still people to this day who insist that the IDW comics are not canon or connected to the games or anything and will not ever matter because they don't like it. And yeah, I get that, but this is just basically saying, yeah, no, they matter. They really, really matter. And here they are in this extended Sonic World story.
Oh, I'm sure those same people were saying like, well, this is an English only audio drama by Baka Gaijins. But then they just, like we said at the top, they just cast Japanese voices for all of these characters too. So
honestly, February ended up being the month of Tangle and Whisper between this and Tales Tube and the Crossworlds characters.
I know, we got an early Pride Month right there.
And it is very funny that we for a moment we played ourselves because we were like, wait a minute, this is coming out right before they go into Crossworld. Are they gonna give them no, they're not gonna give them voices in Crossworld.
No,
they're not gonna bother. But it doesn't matter because they got voices in this.
Yay!
And very good voices in this and that.
Yes.
Oh man.
God, the expectations were high. Like, there's no question about it. But whoa, they hit. They really hit.
I can't remember if I said my thoughts on the podcast before it happened, but I say this with all the love in my heart as someone who still to this day does fandub stuff, but the voices I have heard people give Tangle and Whisper before these official ones, none of them really hit for me because a lot of them are just too I guess they
just sounded like women.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
And I'm not singling anybody out here. This is just my personal opinion. I wanted more character to them. Like when I read Tangle and Whisper in the comics, I feel like their dialogue, even the design of their word balloons, like really lets you know the personalities of this character. And somehow they managed to capture like almost exactly what I hear in my head with Ashlyn Madness Tangle and Anairis Quiñones as
Whisper?
Quinones, excuse me, as Whisper. And man, they're great.
Yes, yeah.
Just
like
super good.
Like, Anairis is a great pick. They've been deservingly showing up in all sorts of shows and games recently. But
oh, absolutely.
I previously knew Ashlyn as the voice of Nira Lee in Freedom Planet, so that kind of brings things full circle.
That's so cool.
Fun,
Also, she was Midge in that utterly unhinged Barbie Life in the Dreamhouse show from years ago.
Whole wheat! You know I don't eat spicy food.
Oh, yeah, man. I've seen some clips from that. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know what else to say except Tangle has that like adorable little like rasp that I've always pictured in my head just because she's not screaming all the time, but just she's so enthusiastic. She's Tangle. Yeah. She's gotta let you know.
I love that they gave her a snort laugh. I feel like that adds so much character.
And she's such a goofball, laughing at everybody's bad jokes, immediately bonding with Charmy because they're probably on the same emotional level. And yeah.
Like, there are a few lines where she's a little bit try-hardy, but I'm like, wait a minute, that's Tangle. Oh. She's like this little sort of like, she is that character trying to fit in amongst all these like overpowered characters, and she's just pushing it so hard. And you need to have a character be pushing as hard as she does when you know, her partner in crime is Whisper.
Yeah, I was really worried about how do you handle the fact that Whisper does whisper, but so it's not just a flat performance. And yeah, you do something like this. You have an actor that can still, you do the basically a stage whisper. So you still have plenty of emotion, but yeah, you don't compromise the very core of the character.
Whatever gets the job done.
And I love that they show up and you can immediately tell from the way they play off each other. Like this is the current Tangle and Whisper who have been basically life bonded forever. But still, like, they haven't worked with the Chaotix or a lot of these folks a ton, so unfortunately that leads to a lot of like second guessing each other. And it's not all their fault because they got a shapeshifter running around, which, oh yeah, speaking of comics, like straight up getting mention of Mimic, that old son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yep, because it needed to come up, because that's Whisper's whole thing, basically. Speaking of comics, by the way, it is worth noting that Jewel does get mentioned here, Jewel Beetle, but doesn't appear in it despite that being her museum. And here's the thing. People were let down and thought that was a cop-out, and I do get what they're saying, but having her there would kind of take away a little bit from the debut of these two, just because, hey, there's a comic character before the other two comic characters, and it would be a little bit distracting to have comic character, well, I suppose. So
I count it as similar to the Tales Tube with Tangle and Whisper, where Tangle straight up mentions all of her friends, and Jewel and Surge and, and other people in there.
Yeah. It's also a case where they needed to have Kitsch come back as the replacement curator.
He's the sort of audience surrogate who gets to be be like, and what's their whole deal?
Yeah.
Well, let me show you,
literally that. While also reinforcing my false belief that he was the thief after all. I was 100% convinced afterwards, because it's like he was at the site of both heists, and also there was, the guy showed up and he was nowhere to be seen. So he's got to be, but I guess that was I'm going to say it again, red herring.
And we all know, even though he protested in his head, he's like, "Ooh, I'm being wrapped up in a big, strong, furry tail."
So plush and exotic.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Don't wrap me up
I
in
hope
your
this
long...
doesn't awake something in me.
Now that's the
long,
shapeshifter who should have been responsible for everything.
Oh God.
Oh God, imagine that version of this.
That's right, I've worked out who it is. It's Dingo.
There's our future podcast rewrite.
Oh no, don't put the handcuffs on me too tight.
I love a man in uniform, Mr. Gun Agent.
Abraham Tower, is it? Oh, I've got a bit of a tower going on down here, you know what I mean?
Lock him up and throw away the key.
That's fair, to be honest.
Begin waterboarding him immediately.
Oh no.
Actually, no.
Never mind.
That voice brings out the best and the worst in us, which are really the same thing.
Back to Tangle and Whisper, just one thing I was thinking about was, back to the discourse of like, why didn't Jewel get to be a voice as well? Like, it could also just come down to the very simple thing of like, Sega is the head corporation. They make the money and they spend the money where they do. And Tangle and Whisper have had their own spin-off series of comics, and Jewel hasn't. So, moneymakers.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, it might just be a budget thing too.
Yeah,
and you'll just have to cast another person in this role that it's another fairly important character in the Sonic comics. So I get it. I get why they're not like just going balls to the wall. Can you imagine like a game franchise that just decides for this extended media we're going to blast every single character that we can, so people can be like, oh, I know that character.
I mean, yeah,
wow,
like
I remember
Amy doesn't
them.
even show up in this anywhere.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Oh
my
yeah,
God, you're right.
Lord. Sorry, no offense to Amy,
no.
but
Sorry, women. No, it's fine,
She's busy
actually.
kickboxing.
This is one time where, she's got her own thing going on, I'm sure. Don't worry, there's plenty of women in this. It's fine. Amy doesn't have to be the only woman. It's okay.
I mean, come on, people. We have Mrs. Knackerworth, Sonic the Hedgehog's true greatest character in all of media.
I know you're joking, Jake, but I thought you were going to say we have Vanilla the Rabbit.
Spoilers, we're not there yet.
MILF extraordinaire, according to Vector.
Size of an average human mother. But for the case, the Malicious Museum Misdirection, they bring in Tangle and Whisper to basically help them guard all the entrances and exits to stop this other lens from being stolen. And it goes well, but then our shapeshifter shows up disguised as Tails, and I feel like Tangle should have maybe, tried to thought about this for more than literally 1 second, because it's like she literally went through the whole thing of telling the Chaotix about Whisper's trauma and everything, and she knows the deal with shapeshifters. She's had interactions with Mimic multiple times, so I would think that she'd be a little more skeptical.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't have the reaction when fake Tails, I assume, slugs her in the back of the head, and she's just like, ow! Tails punched me?
I do think it's partly a case of she's still, even though she's an experienced fighter at this point, there's still that sort of starstruck nature to Tangle, where she's still a little bit like, holy shit, it's this character again. Oh, they're great.
Speaking of
it's so
audience
good to see you.
surrogates.
Wait a minute. That's the role she's fulfilled for a while in the early parts of the comic.
Oh, and we can't forget this is also when Charmy is still trying to find his place. He thinks he can be the tech guy quartermaster and his passed out walkie-talkies that he got. I can't remember, what does he say? Not a
It's a yard sale.
Yeah,
right,
he says a yard sale. That's so cute. I imagine they're the same, like I said, Fisher-Price looking walkie-talkies from Sonic Heroes. Little bit of battery corrosion.
More than a bit, considering what happens, because as soon as the shapeshifter gets in, all hell breaks loose, and they're all trying to take it out. I love that, at one point, Whisper has her gun trained on 2 different tangles, and one is like, "Go on, Whisper, take the shot." What? No, don't shoot. And that's the
what are you,
that's
crazy?
The clue.
Yeah,
and that's the clue that Whisper knows exactly who to fire at, and I like that. It shows how much those two have bonded over the course of 8 years of comics at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and Espio kind of screws it up, and I love that Whisper gets mad at him later. She keeps talking about, what does she keep saying? It's like, "You weren't in danger." She raises her voice a little bit. It's a great touch.
And also a great scene of Rouge saving Espio from the shot.
Oh yeah,
she wants the horn.
Yeah, like if there's any scene to like give some validity to, like, okay, maybe Rouge actually does kind of have a thing for him, I think it would be that, where she like literally saves him from getting shot before being mean a mongoose.
That means a lot coming from you, Jake.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the thief gets away with the lens. They get chewed out, and they still don't know who exactly it is they're dealing with. And that's when Gunn steps in, like, "Everybody freeze. We're taking control of this museum."
Woo, woo, it's a son of the police.
So that obviously gets them like, okay, this is the second time Gunn has stepped in. There's clearly something more going on with them. We're going to go straight to the source, and we're going to raid a gun base.
Yeah. Oh, and I think in the same episode, we've introduced the fact that for some reason, don't tell me who's paying for it, Charmy owns a smartphone.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he does. Whose idea?
Oh, man, the first thing he's talking...
I mean, he helped here, but it's
I know,
like,
he did look up,
sure?
hey, there's a new gun base. But before he's like, you know what some of my favorite... I love search terms.
Yeah.
You know what some of my favorite are looking up? B... greatest detective, Charmy, and you'll never guess what pops up.
Something about the idea of Charmy B being an iPad baby just works in my head.
I know. Keep him away from those AI chatbots. He's too susceptible.
Yes. They just got him one of those like limited plans and like really cheap phones from like the grocery store.
A jitterbug. They just downloaded offline Wikipedia and took the Wi-Fi antenna out of it.
The problem is he has been getting on those really shit little cartoons pumped out for kids. That's right, he's been watching Cocoa Nuts.
Oh no. Coconut slaving over a source filmmaker. All right, which one of these characters is getting pregnant next?
I do really like the dialogue bits at the beginning and, like, in this case, at the end of the episode between Vector, Eggman, and Sonic. And like Eggman's asking him all these questions, and Vector's like, "I have to hand it to you, Dr. Eggman. Those are all very astute questions. If you'll just get us some water." And just like really pushing the whole like, how long can we drag this out kind of thing.
Oh man, when Eggman does eventually give them water, Eggman's got some like fancy reverse osmosis all for himself, and he just got them tapped.
Yeah,
or like put nanomachines in it.
Yeah.
They're not going to do anything. It just makes it taste bad.
It's deer park, but I put nanomachines in it, so now it's deer piss.
Ew.
Ew.
But yes, this brings us to episode 4, Assault on Gun Base X, where the Chaotix go to this new gun base near Spiral Hill, and Charmy's distraction just
dumps a whole... I mean, even only Charmy could foreshadow dumping a giant amount of brass instruments that were in a gun base for some reason.
Just tubas specifically.
Yes. Which we find out later from this random gun soldier, I think played by Dave B. Mitchell.
It's either him or Fred Tatasciore.
Those tubas belong to the official gun marching band, young man. Now how are we supposed to celebrate the base's grand opening?
Maybe maracas?
As if maracas could compete with tubas.
It's so silly.
On Spotify, the episode had a poll that asked, what would you like at a opening with tubas and maracas being an available choice? Tubas won with 57%.
Yes, tubas cannot compete with maracas. I'm sorry. Sorry, Amy.
Sorry, Samba de Amigo. You're not represented here.
You're not in Cross Worlds yet either, so get out of here.
But as they are making their way in, Espio manages to...
Sorry, before that happened, at one point they do need to find a place with lots of computers in it, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Is this where Espio...
That's where we get our second reference.
Huh. I guess you found the computer room.
Please, Espio. Not now.
That's what.
Sorry, people
that's
were
what
like
makes
debating.
it worth it.
People were debating like whether or not, like, how does Espio know about that? Why was that was in a video game where he was in the menu of a video game where you select Vector's like choice, like quest on the positive side.
The answer is because it's funny.
It is funny. That's it.
Also, if you want an explanation, then the Chaotix were all in radio contact that entire time, so they heard it every time he said it.
Yeah, every time Shadow was running off, he was like, "No, Shadow, we gotta find a computer room." Okay, you're back with me. Shadow, come back. We gotta find a computer.
No, don't kill yourself yet. We gotta find the computer room.
Yeah,
wait until after.
Yeah, so that's why. Maybe, you know what? Maybe canonically he never found the computer room as well, and he's really upset about it.
Oh no!
Because Shadow went off in the other direction, or got the Chaos Emerald instead, and he's been holding on to that for years.
Well, there's a moment in the high stakes heist episode where, like, you know, in the middle of the story, Sonic interrupts and says, "Okay, wait, hold up, how did you even know about that?" And Vector says, "Espio filled me in later." So if you want to, so if you want to, like, if we want to be like really technical about it, be like, you know, maybe he filled him in, and maybe for some reason he did say the computer room to him. That way.
He just said it over and over, and everyone was like, "Okay, we get it." And then I said, "Use the circle button to slide."
Boozerman has entered the chat.
But yes, as they are breaking in,
the actual reason is it's funny. Yeah,
absolutely.
Jeremy has it right. Sorry, carry on with the story.
Sorry, man. I was just talking about, man, people don't like to ever think of like inferred things in stories. Like, oh my god, not to go on Resident Evil again, but
Do I need to take my headphones off again?
No spoilers. But a series with, I would say, enjoyable stories, but I would not say they're very hard to follow. In fact, I might put them on the very low end of like pretty easy what it says on the tin. And I cannot imagine the number of people with the new one who are like, I don't understand what they meant by this. And I'm like, because it's inferred, okay? It's like, well, why did Leon do this? Because then there wouldn't be a story, all right? Okay, come on. Like, there is I understand there could be a fine line between, like, quote-unquote bad writing and, you know, a plot hole, but sometimes you just gotta shut up, man. Like, the answer does come down to it's like, because then there wouldn't be a story at all for us to enjoy, so, Jesus.
I'd just be like, counter, why do you breathe and not say every single time that you're taking a breath?
Yeah, exactly. This character didn't turn to the camera and let me know their rich inner thoughts.
But yes, as Espio breaks off to find the security console, Vector and Charmy unfortunately end up getting caught and interrogated by the big man himself.
Chris from Resident Evil 5.
Both of these are correct.
No, I actually really like his Abraham Tower voice.
Yeah.
It's different than his go-tos.
Chaotix. Sad state of affairs when the supposed good guys are breaking the law.
I can't remember if I recognized it as Roger before when it debuted in the Dark Beginnings, or if they'd already announced it.
It is a case of like, he does sound so tired and done with this all the time in his voice, which is exactly what he should sound like in his line of work. And I because we might have talked about it before when we were talking about Dark Beginnings, but compared to the performance in Shadow the Hedgehog 05, which is just talking like this all the time,
and it's so.
This is just an actual. There's some actual authority here.
Yes,
there's real authority, and a guy who's not willing to suffer fools ever. So.
And he's such a. It's just compared to Shadow from here. He's just such a nothing character. I always hated his goofy little kid version with his stupid eye color But at least and a lot of it is the writing and the performance. I think, yes, he has that gravitas of like, okay, now he is literally the head of G.U.N, a organization with a lot of demons and baggage. But yes, also he does sound so tired all the time, like, and is appropriate. Like Vector talks about how G.U.N is really at an impasse, like. They are basically starting from the beginning and, kind of...
It's also got to be, wear on you when you're a global peacekeeping agency and you keep getting shown up by a bunch of furry, multicolored animals.
Yeah. And I think that comes through in here with how they're just kind of annoying. Like, they're not really full on, like, authoritarian and whatnot, but yeah, they're being real tryhards. Like, yeah, when they take over the museum and say, like, what, under penalty of forced incarceration or something, I'm like, all right, calm down, guys. You don't have to show off.
Imagine Towers in his office one day and he's like, Lieutenant, think if I got all 7 Chaos Emeralds, I could be Super Tower?
Maybe then I could finally sleep.
It's kind of like this whole scene with him and Vector and Charmy. That he's the one who's like, all right, get those handcuffs off. He's not like treating them so seriously. He is, like you said, a bit annoyed that they're even here, but he is just like, fucking, what is it this time from you people? Seriously.
Yeah.
It's like he's doing his own like Scared Straight program with them.
Well, and what he reveals is like, I think he's also a little annoyed because like they couldn't just do what they were trying to manipulate them into doing. Because is this the one where we also get the reveal that Tori has also been technically a double agent. She is a professor, but, she's got to keep the lights on somehow, right?
Obviously not a surprise to any of us because we know that she works with G.U.N because she was the one who found the journal in Shadow Generations.
Yes.
That's what was implied, right? Or like, did they actually say Tori straight up in the German?
In the Japanese, it says Tori.
Yeah, it just says T in the English version, and a few of us are like, wait, like Topaz?
I wish.
We are fools
But
for thinking that.
It's okay. We put in a drop in to clarify that, so we're all good.
Can't have us looking unprepared and stupid.
I may be stupid. But yeah, Vector discovers that Tori is actually, working with G.U.N's acquisitions department, and that's where kind of his arc comes into fore, where he is feeling the fool for, his instincts about the person supposedly being off and wondering whether he is the detective that he claims to be, so on and so forth. And meanwhile, while all this interrogation is happening, Espio is doing his search thing. Espio's clearly ready to go. But he runs into Rouge again, and she basically gives him a file on something called Red Specter.
Huh?
And all of us were like, what could that possibly mean?
Which is funny because I know other people who were listening to this and immediately clocked what it meant. So, boo on me, I guess.
And then there was me, who I've shared with y'all that like unless one of y'all hadn't mentioned it in the chat before, I think like the final episode or whatever, I was just like, I wonder who that. I don't know. I'm just here for the ride.
We'll get to that when the full reveal comes.
You see, listening audience, I'm kind of stupid.
We may be stupid.
Just a normal person.
Yeah, we'll get into that more when the actual reveal comes.
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, Rouge showing up Espio, and Charmy is still feeling useless. So everybody's going through it. And, especially Vector after basically having, the old-timey detective thing of like, I thought I could trust you. And Tori's like, it's not what you think, Vector. And just the real soap operaness of it all of just, it works for me.
Yeah, it is just pure noir detective stuff, and I enjoy it. But that is where we find out that she's like, okay, I work for Gun, but we really do want to find these lenses. And Vector's like, I don't know if I can trust you anymore. And it's quite good.
And then, unfortunately, our heroes die in a horrible helicopter crash.
Yeah, and so we get they're going away from this. They're all completely crestfallen. They're in the Chaotix Copter.
And they're having it out too.
They are having a huge argument as to which one of them screwed it up the most. And by that I mean which... No, I did it. I fucked up the most. No, it was me. No, I think you'll find it was me. I'm the complete rube here. I'm a failure. I am a disgrace as a ninja. Well, what about me? I'm the worst person in the universe of the grade A sap with no idea. What is it,
Aren't the blades supposed to be turning?
Nah, that's fine. So yes, the Chaotix Scepter breaks down as they're having an argument.
And that brings us into episode 5, the case of the catastrophic copter crash.
As it's known on the YouTube graphic, the Copter crash. Whoops, that's fine. This episode, quite distinctive, speaking of the YouTube version, for the fact that the YouTube comments are turned off.
Wait, really?
When we get into this, you'll see why.
I thought the comments were turned off because it got marked for kids.
Oh, maybe, but I just can't help but assume
the comments are actually off. I didn't know that.
Now, maybe it is we have seen that happen. Stuff gets marked as for kids, but I feel like this one is not for kids.
Can't imagine why.
A little something for the fellows.
As they are crashing, Charmy starts having a last minute sort of confessing all of his most grievous sins to Espio in particular, and they are very good. There's a bunch of things that he doesn't care about, and then one that he does, and it's quite funny.
Once I was playing with your Super Ninja action figure and accidentally broke it, and I was scared you'd be mad, so I flushed it down the toilet.
That was you?
That was you? That's so funny.
I know. Whose house slippers did Charmy sneeze into?
Espio's, I think. And he's like, I don't even wear house slippers. And I'm like, Espio, are you sure you're
I don't think Espio even knows if he's Japanese.
No, he's just a ninja of indeterminate origin.
I know. What was on Blue Sky, I can't remember. I think it was Sonic Stadium posted some screen cap from I think it's episode 22 of Sonic X, where they go to quote unquote Mr. Tanaka's hometown, but they never mention Japan. And I remember thinking, oh, that's funny, because it's well, in Sonic X it's not Sonic's world, but it is Fantasy Earth, where there's the guardian units of nations and Station Square, and it just looks like Japan.
It's that place that's like Japan.
And there's a Chow Garden there.
San Francisco.
Yeah, little Chunan. Still one of my favorite gags we snuck in. I still like the, everybody kind of recovering.
Espio, you with us?
Yeah, I'm all right. Landed on my horn.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'll tell you in the morning.
Yeah, that was a good one. Poor Charmy bent his wing. He can't fly.
The Foley on his wing that's bent is actually quite you can feel that. Ooh. You can feel how it's not working anymore. Because all the time Charmy's got these buzzing wing noises when he's flapping around, and now it just sounds broken and wrong.
Oh, what was Vector is trying to explain something, and Espio says something like, "Are you sure you're okay, Vector? You hit your head after all is said." "No, I didn't." "Well, actually I did. Really, really hard." But it's beside the point.
They are still, having their pity party and, being very upset at one another, especially since Vector feels personally insulted that they keep calling the copter a piece of junk. But
I know, since he's the one that saved up all those aluminum cans.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Kasuga in like a truck, running around collecting the cans in his little canmobile.
And like they have the moment where Vector is trying to move the copter, and Charmy's like,
Should we maybe try to help?
You heard the man. He can do it all by himself.
like you could feel the venom in that.
Charmy even says earlier, I think it's dead, Vector.
But then as Vector is trying to drag the heaping husk of the copter, who is coming up on the horizon?
It looks familiar. Oh my God, it's famous YouTuber Sayu himself, Alejandro Saab.
Arriving in Sonic the Officials, in Sonic the Hedgehog, for real now, is our boy Kagi from back in the day, and he's playing Gemero!
He of Sonic Advance 3, and like, I am not gonna lie, I marked the out the moment I saw his name in the credits. Like, I remember hanging out with Alejandro in a Skype call like a decade ago before he hit it big, and him talking about how he'd give anything for an opportunity to play a Sonic character. Man. Now he's finally getting to live that dream, and I'm so happy for him. Holy shit.
It gives me the warm fuzzies.
And here he is playing a character that has, up until now, had no voice. The first official voice for Gemero. And he shows up, and then we got this great little musical nod to Non-Aggression from Sonic Advance 3, the boss music for him. So that was great. It's just like this character who has been present in like extended Sonic media for a long time after Sonic Advance 3, like a character who's been in like the comics mainly. Like not just in IDW, but also in Archie as well. Finally getting a chance to actually appear in a mainline Sonic story for the first time that's not, got voices in it. So yeah, great. Good on Gemero. That is a name I still struggle with. Gemero. Everyone gets it in the cast. They managed to pull that off. But yeah, there he is.
And I like it. I like the fact that because Gemero and Emerald, not the same robot, but obviously one based upon the other.
Oh, he's
so
based
I've always picked. I've always read Emerald in Sonic Battle as talking pretty much like a normal character, or like a normal person, because he's copying Sonic. Like that is like a plot point to where Sonic and Tails teach him nasty slang that's rude. But Gemero, I think they did it's a good balance of having him speak with pretty formally, but still like a person, and giving him that robot filter that, God, thank God, whoever, somebody at Sega heard me. They got a whole effects folder saved to multiple backups so they don't forget how to do the robot filter on and
all the Voltas have their own, robots have their own different filters, and he speaks like, he sounds like a person, but he like prefaces everything he says with sort of like what do you call it? Like a tone disclaimer, or like one of those Elcor from Mass Effect,
Analysis. Multiple contusions detected. Interrogative. Why did you crash your helicopter into the ground?
Yep, I like it a lot, and it's he plays off of, and I mean, you mentioned Gemero is stuck around because he is like the live-in butler / babysitter / best friend of Cream the Rabbit.
So I wonder what other characters will be meeting in this episode.
I couldn't imagine.
So they drag the corpse, the shabby, rundown, bloody corpse of the Chaotix Copter all the way to
the House of
Cream's mom.
Yes, exactly.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Vector realizes he was being a bit silly, and that's understand. And now he's got someone else pulling the copter. He's able to reflect on his actions a little bit. But to be fair, the guy has been through a lot today. I don't blame him for being a little bit grouchy.
I know, the adults are a little crabby.
I would too. And then we go to... Now, have we established where the Cream household is? Exactly, in Sonic's world.
I'm trying to think. There is that IDW comic that goes there quite a lot, but I don't remember if there's a little text box or something that says where it is.
It's where you need it to be. In your hardest troubles.
Oh, I almost want to look it up real quick.
Let's find out if anyone knows. Okay, IDW does say it's Floral Forest Village, and I don't know where that is. I don't know if that's consistent throughout Sonic, or if that's just something for IDW and by extension, the games now.
It's probably IDW the same way as, Seaside Village.
Yeah. It's, I mean, logically, it's somewhere between wherever, they were coming from Apotos, somewhere between Apotos and, it's got to be one of them furry islands where they're banished to live. Just kidding.
Well, they're segregated, yes. But yeah, that's where they've ended up anyway. And we get greeted by Cream the Rabbit, still voiced by Michelle Ruff, who's been doing a great job in Crossworlds and in this.
Sounds good.
Then, who else is there? Well, of course, it's Cream's mom. It's Vanilla the Rabbit, the adult human mother-sized rabbit, as they put it, coming out with her first English voice since Sonic X.
The first English voice in 20 years.
Wow.
I think the first time she's spoken since Sonic X.
Yes.
Probably. That and voiced by Jenny Yokobori, that's right. Is that right?
Mother, could I go and help Charmy and Mr. Vector and Mr. Espio?
Oh, I think not, Cream. It seems to me the boys have this well in hand.
So, officially, Cream the Rabbit has a voice actor that's older than her mother. Which is very funny to me, but it's cool.
Just happened to work out. No, I really like because, man, I got nothing to say about Vanilla's original voice, which I think was also Rebecca Honig, who did Cream, and the weirdest old lady voice, like, not her fault. I'm sure they just threw her in and said, oh, here's the rabbit's mom. What would she sound like? And just not a match at all. But obviously, yes, Jenny sounds like a normal adult woman.
This is one of the cases where having her sound like a woman is like, of course, because she's a woman.
She sounds like the average human mother that she's the size of.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah, it
My
works.
favorite fact about Vanilla the Rabbit. And she gets some really good lines, courtesy of Vector's
reliable narration.
I don't know. His false memories, it's less his unreliable narrator and more like, come on, guys, I need this. He almost
this comes across as like this is their way of getting away of having some quote unquote romance in a modern Sonic story. It's by having it be like, and maybe it happened, or maybe it didn't, or maybe Vector's full of shit, or maybe it's not. And we know that Sonic and Eggman thing is like, oh come on,
I know that's
happened.
Absolutely my favorite part, where poor Sonic and Eggman team up on Vector.
We don't know whether or not they are right, but it is very funny that they're calling him out.
Give Vector the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle.
I feel there are a few lines in here where I'm like, no, okay, she didn't say that. There are times it's like where I'm like a real Sonic fan. I'm like, oh, she would never say that.
She would not say that.
But for now, you need to get some sleep. Those big, strong muscles need their rest.
Big, strong muscles. And okay, they made that bit up.
I hate to agree with the rodent, but he's right. You, sir, are an unreliable narrator. So good.
Oh man, like to picture Vector having his own. God, remember that weird episode of Sonic X, the Meta X season, where they do a weird, what is it, Ashita no Joe parody with Tails and Cosmo? I'd like to picture Vector would be Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star with his big old Chad chin standing with Vanilla.
I mean, I immediately think of that one Sonic Channel piece of art.
Yeah.
Oh man, nice.
I'm cropping that into a wallpaper as we record.
This is a Superman-ass Vector with commoner sunglasses. Actually, no, that's more of a scarf than a cape. I don't know why I thought Superman there. This is some Japanese superhero stuff. And there, I like the way that Vanilla is dressed there. Yes, that's that is entirely in Vector's head. Maybe they prefaced this. They foreshadowed this sort of thing way back then.
Still, I I'm sure we brought it up before, but I love that Sega has latched on to this Sonic X original plot point of Vector having a thing for Vanilla and just being an absolute mess around her.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, this whole thing of him, like, pretending that it's a bit more romantic than it actually is, that's straight from Sonic X as well. I remember watching some episodes where it's like, oh yeah, I remember when I took this case from Cream's mom, and she was like, oh, Mr. Detective, you're so cool. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. Oh, I hope you find my daughter and bring her back. Well, you know me, I'll do anything I can for a lovely lady. Oh, Vector, we should get married, that sort of thing.
And I came in to save the day.
Hey, wait a minute, we did it as well. This is a recurring thing of Vector in all forms of fiction.
It's still active as of Cross Worlds too, so like I think that's sticking around for the long haul, and I'm so glad it is. But
I know
it's just funny.
This whole episode is just it's a good breather because we do get they're reflecting on the case, and these are our heroes at their lowest. But what a cute just little buffer because Cream's running around with Charmy, and I love how they have managed to translate Cream's over politeness into her character again, because everything. Like Charmy's like, oh, you want to go run around outside? And Cream's has to ask permission no matter what. And I just think it's super cute.
And I love that they managed to sneak in Charmy singing his song from the Team Blast.
Yeah, when he's working on the copter. Bee, 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 Charmy, bee, gets lots of honey. Need Vector to come in.
Vector the crocodile, can you dig it?
I just like that, it is, even through that lens of Vector's unreliable narration, it is sort of a reflective moment of him, like, wondering if he's good enough, worrying about, Charmy in particular, his whole thing. Like, I think it's good that, we joke about it before, but I do like having these brief moments into the inner lives of these characters and just kind of getting a sense of where they're at.
Yeah. Which I feel like for an audio drama is like the perfect way to be able to like get into the characters. I mean, we got a really good dose of that with Sonic Frontiers, which, we all geeked out, especially me about it, but audio drama is also a great way to do it too.
Yeah. It's a good Vector, no pun intended.
That's the thing, Vector and the Chaotix are perfect characters to do this sort of with, because they're not the overpowered characters. They're not the ones who are always going to have these sort of like arguments about, no, this character needs to be cool all the time because they're based and Pete. No, because they're the bumbling detective idiots. So it's fine for them to have this sort of stuff, and it actually makes them a bit more than that now, because now they've got like, they are actual characters underneath all the silliness. So yeah, these are a great vehicle for that sort of storytelling.
And of course, the Espio and Vector are having basically like midlife crises here about their confidence in themselves. Well, Charmy has his own version where he's trying his best to contribute something, and well, he tried, as Espio says, I'm sure he tried his best, but he did just pull a bunch of wires out of the copter and draw all over it. Yeah. Even Vanilla is struggling with it's now a modern art installation.
I like Cream's follow-up. I like it. It makes a statement. That's such a good line.
She's a smart little cookie.
But yes, thanks to Gemerald analyzing, the composition of the file for Red Specter, even if it's redacted, there are trace elements that go back to an Eggman base. So they have their next objective, and off they go. And of course, Eggman hearing this story is excited because this is where he comes in, along with his beloved AI daughter, Sage, who we had to expect was going to show up sooner or later.
Yeah, so we're at a point, and it's kind of nice, actually, we're at a point where Sage showing up again isn't a surprise now, because she's been, she's allowed in the comics now, thank God. She's in Crossworld, so it's like, oh no, she's just part of the furniture now. And
she had a nice cameo in Murder Sonic.
That's true, and she's just she's part of Eggman's whole thing now, and that's the way it should be, because one of the possibly the best thing to come out of Frontiers, aside from the new character interactions, was Sage herself. So.
Yep. And that brings us into episode 6, The Case of the Solitary Sage Siege, where we are basically looking into a stealth Eggman base that is more or less looks completely invisible to the naked eye until they eventually find the hidden entrance by way of it triggering a mustache popping out of nowhere, which the fact that it's soft is the part that disturbs me the most.
Sorry, just like all of this was prefaced by Eggman just being so excited about like, oh yeah, you gotta tell me all about my cool part of this story. And then every time Vector said something, it's like, wait a minute, you did not say that.
Enough with the editorializing.
I'm great, actually.
Tell him how my little artificial human daughter embarrassed you. Do it.
What this basically leads to is I knew this. I guess I knew this was going to happen from the silhouette and the art for the YouTube version. But yeah, there's the Vector and Charmy fight an Egghammer from Sonic Heroes, a legitimate threat for just two of them because you need Espio there to beat any Sonic Heroes next. So.
I hate those guys.
Well, Espio's going off doing something else. Espio, well, actually, why did Espio run off again? I remember he ran off. He
found
research.
A hidden ventilation shaft that was hidden under a shrub.
Ah, yes, of course. So Vector and Charmy beat the Egghammer eventually with basically was it supposed to be the Sonic 4 Episode 2 move, the sort of spinning together kind of thing, or was it just like one of those like, I don't know, double spin attacks,
something
whatever
like
it was. They destroy him, and Charmy suggests they never do that again. So it's a bad idea.
But since they destroy the existing security, that is when Sage makes her grand entrance. And to her credit, like they were able to basically talk her into collaborating with them, being like, "Hey, we're not here to cause trouble for Eggman. We're just here, doing research for a case." And she's surprisingly cooperative once they have made their intentions clear for the most part. And
it is interesting that they've never met Sage
this is
before. So I guess really
pre-Crossworlds.
this did take place in front of Crossworlds. Yeah. So there you go.
I love Sage's characterization, and I haven't seen her debut in the comics yet. But what would you call her? She's aligned with Eggman no matter what. But is she like lawful evil to where like you said, she just kind of talks them into like, oh, we're not here to bother Eggman. We just, we need a little. And she's like, okay, I'll entertain your queries, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's really
She's
charming.
she's not in your face, sort of like aggressive, but she's still kind of evil.
Yeah.
Like it's there under the surface. The fact that she didn't tell them about like an upcoming threat is because like if she did that, then she wouldn't be able to see that look on their
Yeah,
faces.
exactly.
So, she's got a bit of that Eggman DNA in her. I don't want to think about that too hard.
No, it's I think it even goes back to Frontiers, like before the big finale where she's kind of fading in her red and black and her white and blue form, where she's, it's all part of being a sentient, sapient being now.
I think the way I would describe her is that, like, first priority, she's loyal to Eggman, but she's also loyal to logic is what I would say. And the fact that Vector makes a decently compelling case of like, we're not here to bother Eggman, we're just trying to get info about this thing. And she's like, okay, you got me curious. Let's check it out.
Yeah, I mean, she is still, kid coded. So she literally, so she's like, she's got an inquisitive side to her that's, if presented with this problem, it is going to intrigue her enough that she's going to want to look into it. And even more so when it's revealed that she can't actually access the original file they're referring to, but it is, located under a different name, Phantom. And that's when it all clicks, both for Vector and for me listening to this.
Vector and us, yes.
But not Rocket Jake.
No, not the Rocket Jake. I just realized what I said. That's fine. Also, in the meantime, Rouge is still trying with Espio. Bless her soul. He just doesn't get it, and that's fine.
Like she basically tells Espio, hey, logically speaking, your friends have already been protected by the base and something's coming for you. You should probably make yourself scarce because I am not going to help you out of this. I'm looking out for me and me alone. And to his credit, Espio gets back just in time to see Eggman parading in there in a giant mech and just full on big fight scene and everything. A big, orchestral version of EGGMAN playing in the background, which I love.
Yes.
And Vector basically tells Espio to take Charmy and run while he holds him off. And that is how we eventually lead to Vector being taken prisoner and getting woken up by Sonic as he was at the start of all this.
Now we're all caught up. Sorry, side note is I did like when Espio catches up with them and he's like,
who's this?
Her name's Sage. She's Eggman's AI daughter.
Wow, there is a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
The dialogue in this is just so good.
Yes.
I know. I think we might have skipped over my favorite line from Sonic. Because, as we mentioned in the beginning, he gets to play off Vector as he's also locked away. But he's just so sassy because, he knows the drill. Eggman's going to drag this out. But, they're talking about they're getting hungry and thirsty. And Sonic says something like,
you know what would lend itself to great storytelling? A nice charcuterie board.
It's such a great delivery. Oh, I love it. And of course, it just gets Eggman mad. So mission accomplished, Sonic.
I do like at the beginning, he was just like, I'm a bit tired. Maybe I could get a little, say, 9 or 10 hours of shut-eye. I could do this.
Unless we call him a crocodile nap.
Yeah, fun episode.
And then all hell starts to break loose.
Yep, for the case of the Red Specter Part 1, which was actually... the 2 parts of the finale were the only ones of this to actually be live premieres on YouTube instead of just going up.
Oh, yeah.
But, Vector has finished his story and explains that that's how he woke up here. And finally, we get some clarification that the reason Sonic is imprisoned is because he, got a message from Tails saying that he needed help. And he's like, well, Tails is, capable of doing all this stuff on his own. So if he's calling for help, he must really need it. So, and that's how, he rushes in and falls into the trap and gets thrown in prison. And
it wasn't Tails at all.
Yeah. And Vector assumes that it's the thief who's behind the astroscopic lenses, but because of the whole shape-shifting thing. But Eggman reveals, oh, no, you fool. I've just been using you to get information. I actually have the last of the lenses here.
Oh, whoops. Now, hold on. I'm seeing Eggman uses this. I've never heard of this word. He calls him a gumshoe. Now, why would Eggman know that word? Now, I'm just saying, these writers should be imprisoned in a gulag forever. Yeah, exactly.
They should put them in a cage, just like Vector.
If you don't know what we're talking about, folks, don't look it up. Sorry.
Yeah, just don't. You don't have to know. You don't have to be on Twitter.
Like me.
So,
nobody should.
But Eggman basically is like, yeah, I've been, letting you tell your story so I could get information about potentially who the other thief is and whether I'm going to need to deal with them when I, finish collecting all the lenses. The base alarm goes off again, and Eggman steps away to go deal with it. And now that he's gone, Vector basically admits to Sonic, okay, yeah, so I figured it out. The thief is infinite.
Oh, no!
Which I will say, legitimate surprise, because we are too in the weeds, so we thought that he was off the table.
Yeah, why?
I thought he was dead.
Why in the world would they? I mean, it's not even could they bring him back? But I mean, the big answer is why? Why would you bring Infinite back? And I feel like they justified themselves pretty well.
Yeah, this is very funny because we've been building up to this for like 6 episodes up to this point, and now we get to it. And I always remember, like in some of my favorite murder mysteries, when Hercule Poirot gathered everyone in the the parlor to reveal what was going on, but then left and talked and said, "Hey, by the way, it was this bloke all along." Sorry, it's just funny that the big reveal happens, like, and he's just like, "Oh, by the way, it was Infinite." Anyway, it is funny that it's Infinite. We all gathered as much. I gathered as much. I gathered as much when they said Phantom. I was like, okay, I'm that kind of Sonic fan. Then I was delayed for watching the episode for about an hour because I was busy. I was like, okay, I'll just quickly check Blue Sky. Oh, there's Infinite. What's he doing there on everyone's fan art immediately after this episode came out? Well, I wonder who's in this new episode. No, it's fine. It's fine. But there's Infinite. The character that's... But he's here now, and we have...
Not good.
But it is, like... Here's how it goes. Infinite is a character that we don't have very fond memories of. Great design, banger theme song, in a game with a story, and has there's a backstory, and it's bad, and it's bad, and it's
His
bad.
whole backstory is that he's an incel beta cuck who gets so owned by Shadow that he destroys his own soul to gain the power to get revenge.
Absolutely, that was his original backstory. The thing about Infinite is, the reason why it's so shocking is, because we're deep in the weeds. Ever since Sonic Forces, Sega have basically more or less been like, and you'll never get to use him again, writers who are making a comic set in the world directly after the game that he was the main antagonist for. And like, okay.
Don't even mention the actual game.
Don't even mention him or the game or much of what happened. For that guy is no longer on the table. Major villain that we made a big deal out of and made a banger theme song of. He's gone forever. You're never allowed to use him again. So the fact that they actually did bring him back at first, we had this initial, wait, are they really doing it? Are they bringing back Infinite? I thought he was dead. I thought he was banned. And there he is. He's back and he's alive. And so at first the reaction is like, oh yeah, that's cool that they did that. And then I remember, oh no, wait, it's Infinite. So it's like, but they do make it decent, I think.
I think so.
It just takes some time.
Here's the thing. They did some heavy lifting, getting him into a very different place, to the point Shadow isn't even mentioned in his backstory.
No. In fact, he literally has more of a grudge now with Sonic for being a
literal symbol of hope.
Optimist. Yeah, no good optimist that gives people hope.
I was going to say, they're like, oh, geez, this Infinite's like kind of a weak, no pun intended, character. What do we do with him?
What did you say?
And it's like, oh, I know. Let's make him Am from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Yes. Oh, man, speaking of things we ought to get Kagi to read.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. I want him to read the Am speech.
Oh, by the way, it's Kagi, by the way. Sorry for everyone who's a huge mark for Liam O'Brien. I am one of those people. No longer, just as he didn't reprise Zaz in Crossworlds, and to be fair, why would you?
Alejandro is the new...
he's not come back for this terrible character either. Yeah. But it's fine. Kagi comes in and basically does a tribute act to Liam O'Brien.
Yeah, he does a great performance.
Good on you, Mr. Alejandro.
He makes it his own, I will say.
Some of it is down to like them. They go ham on the post-processing effects on his voice, but that's how to make him sound big and scary and.
Ooh, I'm going to step on you with my giant foot.
Oh,
Look
no.
out!
Oh no! I sure hope I don't step on anything embarrassing.
Don't hope you don't get stuck between my toes.
Sorry, taking away from that immediately. The thing about Infinite is, like you said, they have indeed retconned his backstory to be better. But it is entirely possible that it's not a retcon, and he's just lying. And he is just the edgy boy. He's just saying, yes, I just don't believe in anything, and I feel like the world is worthy of nothing but obliteration and destruction, and you're all weak and pathetic. And it's not that Shadow the Hedgehog embarrassed me. It's not that. That never happened.
Please don't put in the paper that I was mad.
So it could work either way. It might not be a retcon. So, because to be fair, like, we were talking about how Ian Flynn took Tails' storyline from Sonic Forces, and like, okay, how do we make it work? I know, we'll make it so that Tails has a crisis of confidence, because that's why he broke down in that game. And you could say, like, the follow-up to that is, well, Infinite's whole backstory is that when he was in the Jackal Squad and he got owned so hard he shriveled into a corn cob and put a giant gem in his chest.
And to be fair, I'm not familiar with Sonic Force's narrative. It has been a long time since I've revisited. Who would know that backstory except for Team Dark and Eggman and Infinite himself?
Yeah.
So he can just...
Wouldn't he keep it to himself? He would just, like, lie about it. No. It's because I'm a nihilist and I hate everything and we should all just die. It's not that Shadow was mean to me. Sorry, Jeremy, when you cut me off there to say, like, and who? And I thought you were going to... Could you stop? I thought you were going to say, and who among us hasn't shriveled into a corn cob and put on a mask and shoved a gem in our chest?
I would like to think
to all of us once.
And Shadow just wouldn't. I mean, probably another reason Shadow wouldn't show up, because he might say, like, that's not how I remember it.
Don't you say anything, you.
I don't know. That reasoning sounds a little weak. And we do get little... Sorry, all of this is happening, like, we kind of glossed over it, but he does get, like, big. He goes Jint now. He gets he's big!
He explains that the aproscopic lenses are some kind of power amplifier, and when you bring them all together, he assumed that it would give him, not only allow him to make copies, which was similar to his phantom powers, but also restore him to a similar power level of his original form. So that was the whole reason.
Like, they specifically, said that
because of those arrogant fools and the worthless cronies who aided them, and Dr. Eggman taking back my power, I lost the day and only escaped thanks to a final bit of deception.
No, dude, I'm pretty sure you got absorbed into a big robot.
Yes, you died.
Yeah, like, I don't know how he fakes it.
Speaking of which, he, until, he wondered, a pitiful thing I had become, exiled, until one day I received a gift. A benefactor led me to a rare and invaluable artifact. Now, is that just a hand wave, or could that be part of a future story?
Here's the thing. If it was, just going to be a hand wave, they would have just said, until I learned of the power of the astroscopic lenses.
Yeah.
So the fact that they specifically said a benefactor was the one who directed him, I think there is something greater at play. And I have to assume...
Those feel like breadcrumbs.
I'm wondering if it is the same mystery figure that they have been setting up in the comics in recent months that seems like they're going to be the threats for issue 100.
Ooh, interesting.
And
if not, I mean, I think you could hand wave it as like, oh, he met like, a mysterious merchant like from Hellraiser.
What are you buying?
Yeah, the guy from Gremlins even, who didn't know that this was Infinite the Jackal, just trying to pawn something off on a tourist. Oops, it was a powerful artifact. Belongs in a museum.
But what makes this good, though, is at one point he starts like talking about all the stuff he's going to do with them. Oh, he's going to destroy the world and make an endless nightmare for everyone before he does that. And Vector's like, wait, you can't, that doesn't add up. You can't end the world and also have an endless nightmare. And he just flustered like, shut up.
I know, because Eggman says the same thing. He's like, what's the use of taking over the world if there's no world left? And he's like, oh, he basically is saying he's going to create hell on earth to torture people for all eternity. Jeez, dude.
But I think he just wants to sound cool as hell. And that's it. That's his whole thing. As I really feel like he's literally projecting right now because he's like making all these like clones of himself. And he wants to make himself to be the coolest guy in the world. And no, I'm so edgy and cool. And that's why I do think, like, yeah, they'll probably never acknowledge the fact that Shadow beat him again. Maybe not. But I do like to think, my personal headcanon is, no, he really is that shit.
Here's the thing. Like, whether he is serious about his new sort of nihilistic streak or whether it is, like you say, him projecting to try and create this, try to aura farm and basically come out sounding cooler than he actually is. I think both of those are a tremendous step up from what we had before, and I think that makes him a much more interesting character that you can do much more interesting things with.
Oh,
that gives that he's viable again.
Yeah.
Not just because Sega said he is, but now they can actually do something with him. So yes.
See, Capcom, this is how you reintroduce a character in the backstory. Sorry, another if you know, you know.
I do know.
I can't help but still want a future interaction between Shadow and Infinite too. I don't know, if only so he could be mad. It's like, oh, mister, I'm the coolest. Oh, how cringe that is. And Shadow's just like, yeah, because I can back it up, bitch.
I don't even know who you are.
Exactly.
No, that'll make it worse if Shadow doesn't point out the fact that he's lying because he doesn't even remember.
No, why would he? Such an
fair.
inconsequential mission.
So the thing about this is, this episode is, it's really climactic.
It's the big
There's lots
villain
of action
denouement
going on. Yeah, it is. It did lose me a little bit at first, and I think that's because while there's been action through this has gone from a detective story to a big climactic Sonic battle, and that's a little difficult to do in an audio medium. I think they do a respectable job, but sometimes I'm just like, and there's Sonic going over there and doing a spin attack, and whoa, look, Tangle just grabbed him with his own.
Yeah,
okay.
especially in the second half. And I am glad that they brought, Tails, Tangle, and Whisper all back for this last part, because I was worried that the girls were going to be one-offs and then just left behind. But I think that having them in here for the first time was enough of a significant event that they felt like, hey, let's bring them back for the finale too. And I'm glad they did.
I was almost half expecting with the way this was going. It's like, we need the Chaos Emeralds. And Sonic needs to go super. I'm just like, oh, that's like falling back on Goku beating the boss, the villain at the end of a movie. I'm just like, come on, this is not his story. But no, that's not how this goes. So I think it works.
I do like that they're like, you've only got enough time to blow one of these cages, and the Vector basically volunteers to let Sonic do it and have Espio just work on picking his lock in the meantime. Because they're like, yeah, we need a bruiser to deal with whatever's about to happen now. Mm-hmm. I can afford to wait, and I think that's good character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like the moment that comes right after it where Sonic is freed and where all the doppelgangers have showed up, and Tails has managed to rig something that warps their voices so they're a little, again, filter distorted so they can tell them apart. But I do love Sonic gets out of the cage and, the doppelgangers are closing in. He says, I'm about to even the odds. And then a really nice bit of Vector narration where he just talks about Sonic. I can't remember. Does he say
Sonic?
He doesn't
like poetry
say the
in
wind.
Motion. His quills running a sonnet of action as he spun through a homing attack seamlessly into a flying kick. Infinite's forces fell like dominoes before the little blue wrecking ball.
I like that.
Good prose.
I like that. But because of the medium, they have to, guide you along in the theater of the imagination. But I really like that too.
Yeah, it does get a little hard to follow at times because it's, doppelgangers fighting each other. So you do sometimes lose track of which one's real and which one's fake, even with the voice filtration sometimes.
Also, I've got to give credit to whoever transcripted these episodes that we're looking at, because all of the fake doppelgangers, their dialogue is written like the sarcastic SpongeBob meme. in cavalcade going up and down.
I really enjoy the fact that while Vector is still trapped in the cage, he's also kind of acting as a tactician for the entire group, because he's, in one central point, being able to look at everything. So he's got this line right here that says, like, Sonic on your right, Whisper, cover Tangle. All right, 2 more for Tangle. She's grabbing blah, blah, blah. And, like, I think that also backs up him saying, early on in the series, like, not only is he the muscle, but he's also the brain of the operation. And it gets to show that, like, Vector actually does have strategizing capabilities, and there's
he's a leader for a reason.
He hasn't lost his touch.
There's a level of intelligence there. He's not just a bruiser. And then also for an audio medium, that's great too, because that's like an in-world, in-media way of being able to describe action. That's not just, and then Sonic did a jump and kicked him in the face.
Yes, they are fighting. They're fighting all these doppelgangers and Big Infinite. But this is also where Rouge enters the battle.
Oh, that's right. I forgot she jumped in here. Yeah.
Not exactly to help, though.
No,
as Vector wishes she would.
No, she is taking advantage.
She's making a beeline for those lenses, just like she said from the beginning. And I understand why ultimately these things are better off destroyed, but maybe somebody should take Rouge at her word once when she's like, this object of power deserves to be in better hands. My hands specifically. We don't know what she would immediately do with them. They're just shiny objects to her.
I mean, do we really trust them with G.U.N? I don't know.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't, that's for sure. Fuck this.
By the way, Eggman gets blasted off again. I thought.
He sure does.
Has a little twinkle. Wow, he really made it off the horizon.
Yeah, he even tries to like recruit everybody into quote unquote his army to fight for him.
Yeah,
he's deputized into the Eggman army.
And that moment gets like one of the coolest fan animatics I've ever seen. For I think y'all have seen it.
We'll have to link some.
Oh my gosh,
that does remind me, though, that at the beginning of the episode, Eggman was like, yes, my loyal deputy, my lieutenant I can always trust to get the lenses for me, Infinite. And Infinite's basically like, you left me to die, is basically more or less.
I love how just like petty Infinite is during that whole exchange as well. Like,
Infinite, my most trusted and accomplished lieutenant.
Dr. Eggman.
I'm given to understand that you've done me the favor of collecting the rest of the astroscopic lenses. Yes?
Done you the favor, have I?
Indeed. Now, be a good soldier and hand them over so that I may complete the set.
Ah, yes. I see you have the last one right there.
Yes, indeed, my esteemed subordinate. And once I've collected...
Give me that.
Just the faux, just like the faux politeness and like the read on done you the favor, have I? Just, it's perfect. It's so good.
It almost, and I mean, this is only because this is a fact I learned recently, but it almost reminds me of how in Japanese, Frieza, one of the scariest things about him is up until Goku is like, oh no, this guy's going to kill me, speaks incredibly polite, business-centered Japanese dialect. And that's just what it kind of felt like to me, where Infinite is playing with him like, oh yes, doctor. And then he just drops it all at once and, he's scary now.
Yes. During all of this, Charmy also disappears from the battle for a bit. But then we find that, he actually went to try and get the copter, found General, and now they are flying back and actually give Espio a lift up to the platform where the lenses are after Vector literally like fastball specials him up there.
General acting as a jet engine on the back of the helicopter's tail.
It's a good bit. But by the time Espio gets up there, he finds that I actually literally like that, like, as they're getting up there, they pass by Rouge, and it's like, hi, Rouge. Bye, Rouge. Wow, did you see the dirty look she gave?
The whole series, Charmy has been lamenting not being able to meet Rouge because, again, he said, I have a
always thought she was nice and cool.
And Espio's like, yeah, it's because you don't have anything she wants. That's what.
And then here he finally gets to say, hi, Rouge. And I think
And there she goes. Bye,
again,
Rouge.
a bit of good delivery.
And the fact that she just
Hi,
shoots,
Charmy.
The fact that she just shoots in that look of death because they are literally like cheated their way into getting past her towards the.
Oh yeah, what a dirty look she shot us.
But yes, this is the climax of Espio's arc, because the only way to shut down the platform is there is a control panel with 2 different switches, like 30 feet apart, that Infinite used a clone to hit simultaneously. And with Rouge being like, you can't do it, you're not a good enough shot, Espio basically throws a kunai and hits the other switch at the same time as his. And like, that is one of those shots that I would love to see animated, because it would be the coolest thing in the world.
Yep. Because Rouge is basically trying to sprout the seed she has sown and destroy his confidence once and for all, and saying, just hit the switch, I'll take him, don't worry about it, kid. And he's like, no, I can do it.
To be fair, he does.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. Now, all of this, and like a lot of what's going on in this episode, I feel like the creators of this, are like, man, I would love to make this into an animation. If only this was an animation. This would be so cool in animated form. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Why don't you guys get the budget to do this? But
I
you know
agree.
what? They're doing the best they can with limitations. So
I think this was pretty well received. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things I'm like, how does this thing make money? It's like, well, they ran ads on the podcast version and the YouTube version, I'm sure. So, but I mean, I think has been quite well received as far as the audience goes. The audience that matters.
Us.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that audience is listening to this?
Probably
I don't know.
not.
They can't.
Not to take it down.
I don't think you can cherry pick like.
I mean, they're
panels from
probably
this,
listening to it because we know they can't read.
Ooh.
Got him.
Take that, younger audience who are not as ancient as us,
but still grown adults who should know better.
Yes, Espio gets his big moment, hits the switches. Rouge is like, oh, well, there goes literally my entire plan. I'm beaten off to do something else.
Yeah, it's she's really like let down by this. Like the fact that he's just like so insistent on not going along with her is almost like a letdown to her in the end.
Believe me, Espio, you'll never know how nice I could have been to you. I'm out of here.
Huh. Wonder what she meant by that. She never makes any sense.
What did you say it again, Chris? What did you say before we started recording about 7 years later?
Oh yeah, like one of the top comments on the episode was like, Espio, 7 years later. Wait a minute, Rouge was coming on to me. Oh, it was a good comment.
I do like this whole time
audience.
Charmy is still circling with the Chaotix Copter, and I think he's still continuing to yell, "Hi, Rouge!" or something about that, and she just goes, "At least someone's having fun."
Hi, Charmy.
Yeah, that too. He's been so excited, and even Rouge can't let him down too much. Hi, kid. What?
And to his credit, Espio does try to, grab the lenses and bring them back down, but Charmy loses control in the wind, and they all end up, plummeting.
What did you say? There's a big clip under there, of course.
I'm not going to dignify it. I'm not going to dignify it.
The wind!
Not going to dignify it. But yeah, the lenses end up crashing to the ground, being destroyed, and it does end up, killing all of Infinite's powers, and he ends up, all the fakes disappear. He shrinks back to normal. And finally the day is saved. But wait, this isn't Infinite. This is a bomb!
It turns out Infinite had the martyrdom skill.
Now, he does seem pretty confident as he's like, we'll meet again, as I pull the cord on my vest.
Don't worry, Sonic. I'll see you again in another dimension!
No!
I mean, everybody is, very aware of the fact that, like, yeah, there's no body. We've been fooled by this once, not getting fooled again.
Except for Mimic. He's definitely in chunks. Oh, spoilers. I just know it happens.
And, job well done. Everybody is more or less happy, treating it as a win.
I was going to say, that's what, you can tell it's a win because they get the Act Clear theme from
That's true.
Yay!
More acknowledgement of that.
That's true. And so the Chaotix finally make their way back to the office. But But when they get back, they find that Gun has surrounded the place and Tower and Tori are waiting for them.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Because government oversight, I guess.
Modern police state. Da, 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 da.
Exactly.
But Tower's like, I told you to recover the lenses, not destroy them, but Tori's convinced me that it's probably for the best. And they finally get their honorarium. They're all honorary graduates of Spagonia University, and the idea of Charmy B with a degree is terrifying to me.
Charmy B with a degree? Hey, you know what, though? Good for Vector. He finally got his Spagonia University degree, like in our fanfic.
He can get the job at the pizza place. Of course, the first thing Charmy asks is if...
Does this mean I can tell people to call me Dr. Charmy now?
No, these are associate's degrees because you're our associates now. Isn't that great?
It's really good.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, come on, really? Just associate's degrees?
Man.
I'm already a bachelor. You don't need to remind me.
The truth revealed.
And they fixed the Chaotix Copter. First year.
Oh yeah, a bunch of unpaid labor for a.
It's like when when you go to get a haircut from the people at Barber College because it's free and you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah. Go to the dental school when you got a cavity.
We do get a nice little sort of closing bit after Tower and Tori leave where everybody kind of touches base about their own arcs and are building each other up. Like you really, went above and beyond during this case. You're totally a worthy part of the team. Don't doubt yourself, power, friendship, and all that. I think it works.
Yeah, Charmy, your part on the team is being Charmy B. He's like, okay, and he never has to think about that again. It's really good. No, it is legitimate.
Yeah, and I mean, Vector is right. There are so many things that could have gone wrong, and things would have really fallen apart at the end if he had not done something in specific, like getting the copter back.
I think on an even deeper level, I appreciated what happened here because when Charmy initially started his arc of trying to place what his important part of being on the team would be, what his role would be, I was like, oh, this would be cool. I wonder what role he's going to end up with. And then at the end of this, what I got out of it was just like, oh yeah, I guess, as long as you're with, as long as you're with and working with people that you care about and they care about you, you don't necessarily need a label for who you are and what you do. As long as you're just part of it and helping out, that's pretty cool. So
yeah,
labels, man, who needs them?
I agree.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Jake. Our designated starry-eyed wonder child of the podcast.
I was just thinking that, yeah. Thank you, token British.
Yeah, they talk through it, big, not said, but basically big group hug. Phone goes off. It's the commissioner, Max. We've got another case.
Yeah.
Cue roll credits. And I think that, this was a delight more or less from start to finish. Like, I am so glad that this exists.
Yep. Not to be a huge mark, but yeah, there is definitely like you said, like the mystery is solved pretty early, and the last almost hour of the show is a big cool fight. But I just think everything comes together to where the mystery is enough of like, baby's first Sherlock, to where like, if the intended reading audience for this being like young kids, etc., like figures it out and thinks like, oh yeah, I figured it out right alongside Vector, I think that that's good enough. But it's hard for me to even nitpick, just because this is the kind of thing I've wanted since I was like 7 years old, reading the Sonic novels into a tape recorder on my own. Like, so yeah. I just love it. It's like we said, it's very well acted. It's well written. It features like just about everybody in front of and behind the scenes that we have enjoyed on Sonic. And man, I hope they do more stuff like this. Like Jake was saying earlier, really branch out.
Evan has specifically said that if this is a big success, then they would like to do more, specifically focusing on a different character or set of characters.
Wow, yeah.
Like make it an anthology thing. But which I think would not only make sense, but I think that's great, because one of the, like I said it before, one of the biggest strengths of this series is that it, gives the B-listers a chance to shine and builds out the world more.
Yeah.
I think that that's a great way to do that in a way that the games and sometimes even the comics are not able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's sort of a lower stakes production. Like it doesn't have to be beholden to being a big AA budget game or, an ongoing narrative like a comic. So they're able to do things in this that they wouldn't be able to otherwise. And I want to see more of that happen, because I think it's great.
Yep.
And plus, it's just all the little touches. Like, I didn't even mention that when they were, talking with Sage, Vector literally pulls the, excuse me, miss, I was wondering if I could ask you something from Heroes. Yeah.
Some frosty chocolate milkshakes.
The thing about it is, like you mentioned, it is kind of Babby's first mystery. It's not going to be a really super complex mystery, because Vector's a decent detective. Vanilla told him so. Didn't you hear that actually happen? He's a good detective, but he's not like a great detective going out there and like, because the whole thing about great detectives like your Hercule Poirot's and your Sherlock Holmes is they are superhuman in their ability to work this stuff out, and they're going out there and they've usually got someone that they can talk to who's dumber than them to be like, I've worked it out. What is it? No, I will reveal my methods at the end. And he kind of does that, but the thing about Vector is he's not. He's a bloke. He's this silly, dopey.
He's working class.
He pays rent somehow. He's in this world where I don't even know if they have money, but yes, apparently they do for Vector specifically. He's going out there. He's getting by bill. He's a normal guy who just happens to be a crocodile. So it's fine. While it is a mystery, it's a different kind of mystery, and I enjoy it for what it is. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the thing that comes to mind for me is that like anybody who is like not just a fan but a big fan of any particular series, character, whatever you have it, you have to make sure that you don't have your love of that property so strong that you can't criticize it. And like, there's probably like tiny little things throughout this entire drama series that we have or we could have mentioned in criticism, but it's just so good that like it stands to reason that like, hey, this turned out so well that yes, we should absolutely support it and make that vocally heard, so that Sega and Sonic Team knows like, oh hey, like people love this so much that they're clamoring for more. And the great thing is, video games take a long time to make, and even comics can take a long time to make. Audio series, they still take a while, but you can still make those happen a little bit quicker than the former. And this, like we've been saying this whole time, this could really lead to some wonderful, amazing projects coming out of Sonic and Sega and everything.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And it is interesting when this came out. Like, I remember Jeremy was like saying like, "Oh, well, we can't make our own cartoon, so I guess it's the closest we're gonna get is these creators like Ian Jones Quarterly got to be able to be a part of a real Sonic production here, because obviously they're not going to be like, yeah, go out there and make a real high-budget Sonic cartoon for us." Because they would rather do multiverse bullshit apparently instead. That's fine.
Literally, because they could sell a toy line that would also relate back to the video games.
But can you imagine if a Chaotix show, like a short-lived Chaotix show like this? Boy, I would want to watch that. And people want to make this into cartoons apparently, as we've seen all across YouTube. So, but this is a nice way of whetting our appetite for seeing better Sonic fiction that isn't just in the comics. You know.
Yep. All I have to say is I would be all for doing a second season with a different set of characters. I even wonder if this format would be great to finally hash out what the hell is going on with like Blazing Silver and nail down like, okay, what's up with her alternate dimension? What's up with Silver in the future? Like, how do they... what are they up to? What justifies them getting to come visit, Sonic and friends, etc., etc.? I would really, I think something like that.
I think you are dead on with that. I think that would be a perfect one. Not least of which because it means we would get voiced Marine.
Another thing that's never happened for us, even though we know what she's going to sound like, and that is Australian.
She better.
Oh man, sorry. It's just, I feel like the one thing I will say about this, and this is my one little gripe, and it's just me being an old man, is there are so many cool like throwbacks to Knuckles Chaotix the game to inform the musical identity of this, and also to have these little fun nods to character history. Because I love, like, even in Crossworlds when they have like Espio saying to Knuckles, it's fun to race against you again, old friend. These little things to, hey, Knuckles Chaotix happened. No one played it, but it was a thing. But the fact that we do all of that, and we have all these references, and not once, and I get why, but not once do we have even the mildest allusion to our boy Mighty. And I get it. Like, I get it. He's banished to the classic dimension. We will never see him again. But, it almost made it feel incomplete at times. And maybe that was only like me just like looking back and I was like, wait a minute. They did all these cool little nods. What about my armadillo boy? But no longer a part of Chaotix. But that said, all of this had a lot more to do with Knuckles Chaotix than another thing that we will talk about a little bit later. But yes, that's just one little thing. It's just me being like, well, that's chaotic. And isn't it interesting that all that musical identity, all those nods that they did to Knuckles Chaotix, I don't think I noticed a single nod to Team Chaotix, their detectives you've got on your side. What's that?
There was one.
I didn't catch it. Where was that?
There was one. Charmy was humming it when he was fixing up the
okay, well, there you go.
Oh, after
that's
his,
it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there wasn't more of a reference to that, because that is that was like what we associated as the Team Chaotix theme specifically for the longest time. But
I would love to see like a version of this theme become like their group theme.
It's really good. It's really good.
Man.
Like, just taking that again, it's the Midnight Greenhouse song from Knuckles Chaotix. It works. Then just that, that little leitmotif of dun 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 dun. It's just like, that being the.
Oh, I would love to see, since they just added a bunch of random other Sega racing related songs to Crossworlds, like get a remix of this in there, up that tempo a little bit for Final Lap. Oh man.
But I know we kind of already said it, but I'm really interested to see what they do with Infinite next, because we didn't mention it, but in the YouTube subtitles for episode 8, like a split second before the episode ends, it flashes the binary code that translated reads U plus 221E, which is the Unicode for the infinity symbol.
Of course it is.
So they have something planned, and I'm still convinced that he and his benefactor and whatever else is going on there will be revealed in the leadership in the lead up to issue.
Yeah,
100.
so you know what? I still don't really like Infinite a whole lot, but I'm curious to see what they do with him going forward, because
I don't think any of us really care for him much in Forces beyond the banging theme song.
And Liam O'Brien playing
I've
him.
always and Liam O'Brien, but I've always been of the belief that no character should be fully thrown away, because there's always room for somebody to reinvent them and do something interesting with them. And I think this was step one of the train to hopefully making Infinite a character we actually give it about.
They managed to do something with the Zeti, the Deadly Six, so you never know. You never know.
You never know. But yeah, that is pretty much case closed on the Chaotix Casefiles. And once again, I'm so glad that this exists, and it has just increased my drive to want to make something fun of this nature for a future episode or something.
Definitely.
It is kind of funny that I will admit, I was planning the stuff for Gotta Break Fast before that I knew what was going on with this. So if you're wondering, Valero had a thing where Vector solves a mystery in a little audio drama, huh? Oh yeah, just ripping straight. But look, guys, I was planning that beforehand. It takes a while to make these things.
It's called parallel thinking.
Yeah, great minds think alike. I'm putting myself on the same level as the people who made this actually really good and well put together audio drama.
Yeah, but until whenever that next audio drama happens, you can find us on all sorts of places at Sonic F or Sonic F Series, and you can find me in particular at Cyberlink420.
You can find me on Blue Sky at jeremybaker.actor and around the rest of the internet as Game Buddy, sometimes with a 123.
And you can find me all across the internet, mostly just posting anime porn these days. No, it's not anime porn, it's just drawings. But at Valero, that's FAULERRO.
Love that jingle.
It can be both. We're all adults here.
Artistic nudes. Yes. You can find me on the socials as Rock the Jake, and you can find me on twitch.tv as Mr. Rock the Jake.
Special thanks, as always, to our resident maestro, Amy Waters, for the use of our theme song from the album Gotta Go Slow. You can check out more of her work on YouTube and Bandcamp, and you can also find her on the socials at Amy Waters Music. And a very special thanks to our guest editor, Melanie, for helping us put together this episode. Remember to subscribe, review, share all that stuff around. Help us grow the show so that we have the opportunity to do big, fancy things like this. Not on this level, but we've got some ideas. And as for next time, we're going from one chaotic story to another, to basically the one that I think was sort of in the back of our heads throughout this whole thing, wondering, okay, is this going to overlap a little too much, or is this going to be its own thing? We're talking about the IDW Chaotix 30th anniversary special.
Ooh.
That's right, the special that celebrated the 30 years since Team Chaotix became a detective agency, and certainly not a video game that came out at any point. Fascinating bit. I have read this before, but I'm interested to talk about it on the podcast, because we've had some pretty curious anniversary specials up to this point, and this one breaks the mold in a significant way, and we'll get into it probably again, because I think I brought it up before, next time on the podcast.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to revisit that now that we have listened through all of this and have a very different perspective, yes. I think.
And I have not read it, so it'll be especially interesting for me.
Yeah, that's your role on the podcast, isn't it, Jake?
It sure is.
But until then, I'm Cyberlink.
I'm Game Buddy.
I'm Valero.
I'm Roth the Jake, and the only thing left is to find the security room.
Hey!
He said the thing.
I knew I wanted a line from
from
Chaotix Casefiles.
This has been The Hill is Always Greener, and we'll see you on the other side. But yes, thanks to Emerald analyzing, the composition of the file for Red Specter, even if it's redacted, there are trace elements that go back to an Eggman base. So they have their next objective and off they go.
Also, again, saving you comments, Luke. I think you said Emerald instead of Gemroll about a minute ago.
You're-
We know, people. we watch out for each other. We are a tight-knit group. We're our own Team Chaotix.
Hang on. Gemroll? Wait, one more take.
No one will ever know!
Gemroll?
I know what's going at the end now.
Gemroll. Everybody clean take. Gemroll.
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 Gemroll.com.
Gemroll.
Welcome to gemroll.net. It's .com.
Gemurl.